All right, smile back. You doing?
4 members, 3 here, 1 immediately to my left on the Zoom. Most of these applications we can deal with 4 members. We would need the assent of the applicants. But we're all good now because Emmett just walked through the door and we now have 5 members. All right. I am going to call to order the Town of Duxbury Zoning Board of Appeals for this evening, pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 as amended on March 28, 2025. This meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for a remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, this meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access channels, Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. You can also go to the internet to the local scene /Duxbury for streaming and replays. All right. We have a very dense agenda tonight, largely because we had a little issue with noticing previous public hearings. That said, the first thing on the agenda is the continuation of the Trout Farm HOA. The applicants proposed to add a non-illuminated freestanding sign and an information kiosk at the entrance of Trout Farm Lane on the island in the middle of the entrance street. A special permit is requested. Who's up for that one? All right, so here's how we do this. Everybody can talk, but you got to talk from over there.
Okay.
We're going to hear the applicant first. The board's going to ask questions,
Okay.
and then we're going to open it up for general public hearing. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
Do you want me to start?
Go right ahead. Let's hear it.
Okay. So the application was put in on the 22nd of January, and it is for a sign to be put up at the entrance of Trout Farm. We've never had a sign that represents our community, and somebody had made a really beautiful logo many years ago. So we've just done a whole new sign project through our entire community, and we thought it would be nice to have the entrance sign. It's a 36 by 36 sign that is wood, and it's carved with the logo, and it is abutting Winter Street, so that's why, hence the permit. And from the, there is a railroad tie wall, and then the sign is to be placed 6 feet behind that. And the planning board had said it was a question if we had to get the kiosk, because it's 95 feet from Winter Street onto private property. But I did include it because I didn't want to come back if, we had to do that. And it is a kiosk that will be, our signage will be in it to help people find their way around our community, because our community is now broken up in colors because we've had so many emergency vehicles in the wrong homes because Trout Farm is so difficult to get around. And even telling people how to find your home, it's really difficult. So now we've broken it up in colors. Gary Stanton, who created this project in our community, teaches graphic design at Stonehill. So he and I were the sign committee. We were assigned by the previous board last winter, and we've put many, many months into this project. So I think you have a picture of it.
We do.
Do you need a picture of the kiosk?
Yeah. If we have it, can we put it up?
We have a smaller version that, may I hand this to you?
You may.
This isn't a court. You don't have to ask to approach us. You can just come on up.
Candidly, I like it better when people ask to approach, but that's just.
Yeah, that's just you.
I agree.
So we had many, many meetings about this. Every meeting, every month, we spoke about the sign project. We didn't have a lot of input from our community, unfortunately. But we did do a dedicated meeting on July 31st with a slideshow. Only 5 residents came. And then in October 15th, the board voted in the sign project, including the front sign and the kiosk.
The Trout Farm,
What?
your local board.
Our board of Trout Farm.
Yeah.
And so then the next day, the letter was sent out that it had been approved and would be hopefully installed on the 30th of March, weather depending. And of course, as you know, what the weather did. So it just started to get installed on Monday.
Oh,
And we're just waiting on this sign permit to have the sign made and install it. And that's what is going on.
does it comply with all of the requirements?
Yes, it does.
Does somebody have the rest of the submissions for this?
I believe so.
Thanks.
I have the notice. Letter from the DRB. Want me to just hand them over to you?
Well, you can just, what the DRB say.
Oh, okay. You've read enough
Yes.
of the notice that I think we're
The notice is
done with
fine.
that. The Design Review Board submitted a letter. In this case, the petitioner requests a special permit to build a 2-sided carved wood logo sign and kiosk on Entry Island. The DRB reviewed in person the most current plans with the petitioner on March 18th. The Design Review Board finds the proposed sign and kiosk to conform with Section 601 of the Duxbury zoning bylaws, and we have no objections to the proposal as filed. Respectfully submitted, Design Review Board. Next, we have a letter from the Planning Board. At a meeting of the Planning Board on March 9th, the board voted unanimously via roll call vote to recommend approval of the special permit application for Trout Farm Lane and Winter Street, ZBA case 2026-01. Board of Health sent a letter dated January 30th. Board of Health has no comments on the application to install signs. And then we just have the petition from the applicant and a, let me just make sure that, we have a petition that is signed by approximately 35, appears to be members of the Trout Farm community, which in summary states that they appreciate the Homeowners Association board and committee members who dedicated their time. However, many residents only recently became aware of the scope, scale, and final design. While we support thoughtful improvements to our community's entrances, we respectfully request that, number one, additional opportunities for homeowner input be provided before final approval, alternative design options be presented and reviewed by the broader membership, and three, consideration be given to revising the scale and/or design to better reflect the preferences of the community as a whole. Our intention is not to halt improvements, but to ensure that any permanent signage installed in our community reflects broad consensus and the careful consideration of the character of the neighborhood. We respectfully ask the Zoning Board of Appeals to take our concerns into account when considering this special permit application, and if appropriate, encourage additional community engagement prior to final approval. Thank you for your time and consideration. Again, signed by 35 of the residents. And then the additional documents that we have are the actual permit application. I think that is it.
Board of Health said they didn't have any issues with
Yeah,
it.
the Board of Health doesn't have any issues.
I have another comment on that. 35 people represent, I think, 15 homes of 81. We have 140 residents.
Is there any chance it's going to change?
81 houses? Is that what you
Is there
said?
any chance the design and the configuration of the sign is going to change?
Oh, I'm sorry.
35 homes.
No, not 35 homes, that, because it was a husband and wife who signed it, so that
Okay.
is one home.
Okay.
The meetings were 10 months about the sign project, and they didn't come. We have 3 people at a meeting, 2 people at a meeting, nobody asked a question. The people who came to us who asked for specific signage, they're getting the specific signage. So every effort was made. It was on every agenda of what our meeting, the said sign project right on it. They got the minutes, and every meeting, we talked about it. So-
Is the sign that's out on Winter Street potentially going to change, or the kiosk?
No, the kiosk is smaller, because we're not putting the bulletin board side
I'm just
on there.
wondering which part of it
They're
had
having a
issues
problem with the whole interior of our community, which is private property, and the board voted yes.
I
to do this.
understand,
Yeah.
but do you think the sign that's out on Winter Street is going to be, is you're definitely going to build that, and those people who didn't like it are,
No, I don't think that they wanted a special meeting, we gave them one. And the people all thought that they were sitting there waiting to vote out our whole sign project, which they don't have that right to counter a vote from the board. And I said, the petition, the ZBA is only for the front sign. And they went, not the whole project? And I said, no. And people started leaving the meeting.
okay?
So this is just for the front sign.
Well,
Okay.
it says freestanding sign and information kiosk.
Oh, well, the
kiosk
kiosk,
is
we
100
didn't
feet
know
in
if it
from the
needed
road.
permission because it's on private property. So I just included it. The planning board said that they didn't feel that it was, needed a permit because it was on private property. But I just included it in case you wanted to know.
When did this hearing open?
It was snowed out February. It was opened and closed March 26th. We had a lack of quorum.
How do we close it with
I mean,
lack of
no,
quorum?
that was the March 26th when we couldn't have the meeting. So this is the first time this
It
is
was
open.
continued.
Yeah, I don't think that this was ever opened
No, this was
and
it.
and continued. I think that this is the
This was
first
supposed to be in
discussion.
February with the snow.
Okay.
But we've now read through the applicable documents, so I think we're,
There was one document that came in from conservation, do you have that?
That came in today. It should be in front of that envelope.
Trout Farm, so this is from Conservation. I have reviewed this submittal and determined the proposed work is not located within a resource area and it's not included within the 75 feet restricted buffer. So Concom basically deferred.
Yep.
Seems like a pretty simple application to me, and if Jim says it meets our regulations, then I'm really only concerned about the one out on the street, and they can do whatever they want with the other one.
I agree. Their board voted for it, so.
All right, so are there anybody here who would like to talk about this application? And if you do so, just walk over there and identify yourself and tell me where you live.
Hi, is it on?
So,
We can hear you.
Doug Carver, 52 Trout Farm Lane. I'm one of the signatories on the petition. I have attended every meeting of the board, so to say that nobody was there or nobody voted is completely out of hand. What really seems to have happened, and again, I'm speaking from having been present at every meeting, and I also serve on the grounds committee who's would normally have influence on this, but they were never brought into the picture. That's been an issue. The way it was held close to the cuff for 6 or 8 months or more has been an issue, and the way it was presented and the way this has been argued and the way the petition has been interpreted is an issue. It's correct that there are 81 units, and then we have in-house votes. There are 81 votes. Each household has a vote. But there are approximately 135 to 140 adult eligible owners who are of voting age who would have a right to speak up and sign a petition that's going to the ZBA. So in the process of this petition was presented to the board, there was a great deal of time spent denying the validity of 30 or so of the people who signed the petition, and then tearing down the rest of the community that for not attendance in other meetings and so on.
So can I ask you like a very structured question?
Yeah.
Irrespective of what occurred procedurally, what's wrong with the sign?
What's wrong with the sign is that it's not been presented, and this is the people who are paying for it, and they haven't had an adequate say, and they continue to be denied an adequate say. The special meeting that she talks about calling was called by me. I requested the special meeting, and it never happened because they denied it, and then I called it by calling members of the community, which is the procedure in our documents, in our bylaws, and that was denied. We've had a battle about this ongoing, and the bottom line is...
I don't think we're going to mediate this.
No. Candidly, sir.
We don't care.
If you can't explain to us what is structurally wrong with the sign other than you didn't get your rights within your own community, there's very little we can do about that.
There's 2 one-way signs that are out there right now that were not in the application. We were told that the kiosk was not in the application, that it was withdrawn, which apparently isn't true. So procedurally, I think you guys have been lied to, and we've been lied to, and I think we're just asking for you to put a hold on this so we can get our time to meet as a community.
We could do
discuss
that.
What is community property? This isn't town property, this isn't anybody else's property, it's not private property other than the 81 homes, which is approximately 100.
Who has the right to ask for this?
What's that?
Who has the right to ask for this?
To ask what, I'm sorry?
They've asked for signage.
Yeah.
Who has the right to ask for it?
Who has the right?
Yes,
Ultimately,
the board.
the board. But who gives that right to the board?
Right, but why are we going to mediate questions with the board. The board has come out and said, we'd like this sign. The sign complies with our bylaws.
Well, we have a set of bylaws as well that the town approved when they approved Trout Farm as a planned unit development, a PUD, back in 87, 84, whenever it was. And those documents, and quite frankly, I've built communities, developed documents, and they're not the best documents to work with. I've said this since we moved in. But they are there, and they have some processes in them that are not being followed. So for the ZBA to ignore our rights as members of that community, which the town approved, subject to those rights, to me, is just denial of our rights by the board, too.
Well,
Can I, all right.
Go right ahead.
Go right ahead.
I don't know who we're asking this. You have a board of directors, three,
Yeah.
4, 5 people.
Yeah.
They voted to.
Well, that's a problem in and of itself.
Oh,
So
can
go
I finish,
ahead.
please? So there must have been an affirmative vote of the board to bring this to us. After that, I don't really care whether you guys like it or not. If the board wants it, it's legal, we can approve it, and you guys can all fight each other at home. Sue each other, whatever, you don't like the sign. They're just asking for the right for a sign, and it's a legal right.
So if owners,
simple.
if owners of that sign and that property where the sign's going, and that's what we are, we own 1/81th of the property, the common property. It's lot 37, and it used to be lot 40, and then it was I can go through the whole history of it.
Please
I don't want
don't.
to bore you with it.
Thank you, no.
I don't want to bore you with it, but I've done it. I've done my homework on it. And if the owners of that property don't want to proceed yet, then I think it's an obligation of the zoning board to hold until our board gives us the time and the presentation to sort out some of these differences.
Are the differences related to the sign out on Winter Street or the kiosk 100 feet away
Oh.
from Winter Street?
Both.
Both,
Both.
okay.
I happen to like some aspects of it, but there are a lot of people who despise some aspects of it.
Okay.
And those are the things that have not been reviewed and discussed.
So there are people that don't like the sign on Winter Street,
Yeah,
yes?
right?
Okay.
All right, are there other people here who would like to speak to this application?
I would like to make comment, just one quick thing.
Anytime, Jim.
Jim Wazlewski, the Building Commissioner. Just with respect to some input that the kiosk is not a sign and it's on private property is untrue. It's regulated in the
I
zoning
understand
bylaw.
that.
Oh, okay.
I just want to make that clear so everyone
They're
understands.
both on private property in reality, so.
One on any private property. It's
Every-
regulated by the
Everybody's
sign
sign
above.
is on private property.
That's right.
We get that.
I just wanted to clarify that one thing.
Thank you, Jim.
Is the kiosk in conformance?
Yes, it is.
All right. Are there other people who would like to
You
speak?
have concern about public safety in your consideration?
You can talk about public safety. Is there any person other than you? Well, why don't you give us our public safety concern?
Okay.
And
Brought this up back at the beginning. It's been ignored. Again, I've done these things physically, have built, designed, planned, and executed these communities and other places. The consideration for the placement and the impact on the entrance to the community, which is off of Winter Street, which is a very busy and risky street. I don't know if you've ever been out there in the morning or afternoon, but it's...
Twice today,
Okay, good.
just so you know.
So you know.
candidly, I know how to get to Winter Street.
Well, that's not the point. The point is, what is Winter Street? Winter Street is a public way with entrances off of it into different areas. And this is one that's got problems, but because there is an egress and an exit in both directions, then it absorbs the traffic as it comes off of Winter Street. This kiosk is placed to stall traffic, to review what they need to review based on the intent of the signage and the system and the kiosk and all that jazz. It's intended to stop traffic right there, and if you get 2 or 3 cars backing up, or trucks, or whatever it is for vehicles, you're gonna have cars and trucks out on Winter Street blocking that traffic, creating
But I thought it was going to be like 90 feet off of Winter Street, or
It's,
95.
but
95.
we don't have that distance, we don't have the width of the road to absorb if a few vehicles, and one truck can be 30 feet long very easily. And we get a lot of this was, there's been talk about public safety vehicles, but some of the problem with this was initiated because we needed a way to give people a better system of determining where they were going.
Sir, have you expressed all of your concerns about this project?
Apparently.
All right, is there anybody else who'd like to talk about this?
I'd like to make a comment, if I may, which is sir, I understand your concerns, but we need to recognize what the responsibility and ability of this board is. We have a bylaw that we are charged with enforcing. And in this case, personally, it concerns me a little bit that number of people who are residents had a problem with this plan, but that's beyond the purview of this board. We have an application that was presented to us by your board of directors who are claiming, and we don't have the ability nor frankly the interest to dig in to see if that authority is legitimate or not. That's not our purview. It's not our monkey, not our circus. What we're charged with is confirming that the application that was submitted to us meets the zoning bylaw and is legal. That's all that we can do. If there's internal disagreement, we can't arbitrate that. It's not our monkey, not our circus, to coin a phrase.
Based on that comment, then anybody can walk in here and claim anything they want, submit an application, and you're not going to look at it if there are any questionable issues on it.
All right.
And that to me isn't.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak to this application? Yeah, and just go over to the mic and tell.
Mine, because of my walkability issue.
Okay,
can bring
I
in the
do not
mic.
mind, but I'm gonna walk that
That's corded.
microphone
It
over
looks like
to
it's
you.
corded now.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, it's corded now.
Jim, will yours reach?
No, it definitely won't. It's at the limit.
We now have a corded mic.
I can,
I am befuddled by this particular quadrant.
Just hold it.
All right, let's do this.
Maybe she can holler loud enough.
Just yell.
We could just pull it out quiet.
Call to Paul's.
Baker's machine.
He was out there?
No, but he said that's probably what it is. No, it's got a lever that goes in and out, shuts the fuel off.
We have to have a Jenny hold today.
No, this is insane. Should we just continue it?
Yeah.
Till it didn't come back
Approve it,
when
and it's not our, we don't
Well,
want to
let's
get involved.
approve it.
Yeah.
Or disapprove it, or approve it, or something. See,
Right, but we have to give them their opportunity
They have.
to make their comments.
We did what we could do.
you did a good job. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Paula Ariza,
Oh, that's just a wonderful thing. We finally got the mic over to you and it doesn't work.
and it doesn't work.
No, it does. I would imagine
It's working?
they can hear you
Okay.
at
People at
home.
TV are out listening.
All right.
Thank you. I'm at 9
Hundreds of
Trout
people.
Farm Lane,
Yes.
and we've been asked, I believe it was Mr. Freeman Boynton that asked, what's one of the main concerns? It is mostly the signage out on Winter Street. There's already a sign. It says Trout Farm Lane. There's another sign that says entrance to Trout Farm. There's a big boulder that says Trout Farm. It's quite excessive signage, mostly the concern going out on a winter. It will be set back as we understand, but there's so much signage out there now, it's very distracting. The members that signed would like you to understand that.
Okay.
The other signage was simply large, 6 feet, and because of the traffic. Roads are narrow. If a truck pulls up to read the signage, they're going to block the road. Getting around them will be difficult. That was actually a concern. And the overall concern is just not having the input, not being able to give input. The rest of the signage is up, running, and it's going to be what it's going to be, and the community is resigned to that. But it was this meeting that they really just wanted to sign that petition and be heard on that. And they understood the rest of the project is what it is. For our board, I just want to make note, our board does not operate with our bylaws of 7. It operates with 5. 2 of the members abstained from the signage vote, saying we wanted the community to have more input and more understanding. And then the other 3 voted yes. So I think we had just not cohesive communication within our community. I thank you for listening to what I had to say, and I appreciate you giving me the mic.
Of course.
I tell you, after hearing that, I think we should continue this down the road.
What do you think, Wayne?
Somebody-
So what we generally do on the special permit applications and any application that's reasonably contentious, just so that people aren't barred from asking again, what we generally do is take a sort of straw poll of the members to determine where they're at and what they would like to do, so that we don't foreclose applications, frankly, for a 2-year period. So why don't we do the straw poll thing? And we'll do a straw poll as to where people are at. Boris, I see the bee on the wall. Why don't we start with you?
Thanks, Wayne. That last presenter just raised a pretty interesting question. Do we have anything for too much signage? If it already says, I'm not familiar with the boulder, although I have seen it, that says Trout Farm. Obviously, the street sign, that's normal, but is it possible the case of having too much signage? I know we had that's come up in previous cases. I'd like some clarity on that.
All right, I'm not sure we know the answer to that question. Freeman?
I can't, what's my opinion?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we should continue it for a month or 2, and maybe they can hash it out and come to a unanimous decision, or at least a majority as to what the majority of people want to do, as opposed to the 3 members of the board. What do you think, Emmett?
I think that's a wonderful idea. Or the other one is they pull it and come back or something.
Phil?
I'm amenable to continuing if that's the pleasure of the board, but again, I do just want to make the point that, us mediating your internal disagreement is beyond the purview of this board. We are supposed to deal with the facts that are presented and applications presented by what is held out to be your governing body. And if it is or it isn't, that's an internal issue for you guys. But I'm willing to continue to give you guys all the opportunity to come to an agreement or come back and say we haven't come to an agreement, at which point my decision would be we're going to vote this based on the zoning bylaw. But for now, I'm willing to continue. That's the pleasure of the board.
Yeah. So if push came to shove on this, that the board for Trout Farm has voted for this.
Right.
It complies. I fully respect the idea that we can continue this in order to have further dialogue. But if you ask me to vote today, I would candidly vote in favor of granting the special permit.
The last speaker got me with all the, I didn't know there were 3 out. This would be a 3rd or a 4th sign out there. I don't know, so maybe I'll drive by and look.
Yeah, that's a good
I want to do a
idea.
little bit clarification, please.
about the last speaker. I'm Sharon Barrett-Dennehy. I'm president of the HOA.
Okay.
The first thing, we can run a board with 4 people. We did reach out to legal counsel, and he goes, we can run with 4 people.
Ms. Dennehy, do you have an objection to continuing?
No, I think what we've done with what you just said, sir, we've abided by the bylaws, and we had our vote. This sign is 2-way, so you can see it coming east-west. The boulder is set back, so you can't see the name of our complex from driving by, because the boulder is a little bit back and it's like screen printed. There is another green sign that says Trout Farm Lane, but you can't see it both ways. You only can see it one way. It's a beautiful sign. It's hand carved. It's not some metal ugly sign sticking out. It's not even sticking out. And I do think that Trout Farm, needs something like that. And they gave us the right to vote on the benefit of the community. The community voted us in to make these decisions. It's like all of you,
Right.
we voted you guys in.
I understand that. The sort of more narrow question I ask is, do you object to a continuance?
I do, because I do think the animosity that we have in our community,
Will go away.
no, sir. No, sir.
That being said, I'm gonna vote, I would air it as to how Wayne is. I'll vote for it tonight, for
I'll
sure.
vote for it.
Yeah, all right. So is there anybody who would like to speak? Anybody else who'd like to speak? Yes, sir? You got to go to the,
You need the microphone. Thank you.
of course.
Hi, folks. I'll be very brief. My name is Scott Smith. I live at 69 Trout Farm Lane. I'm Lee's husband. I'm a former...
Congratulations.
I'm a former board member on the previous board. I'm the former board president. I'm well versed in our bylaws. I can assure the ZBA that the current board has taken all steps to communicate properly and conduct the business of the HOA according to our bylaws. Only, as any rules-based organization, and all are, only the board can conduct the business of the HOA. They did reach out for input. They did reach out. They had a special meeting, very low attendance. It's been discussed for over a year. I was the president when we formed the committee, the sign committee, to report to the board, not to the grounds committee, to report to the board. A tremendous amount of depth of thought and reflection went into this. It's a beautiful project. The signs are being installed now. The only question at hand is the front sign.
Why would you say that?
Candidly, when you tell me that you need a permit, but you're already doing it, it's not like a great,
No, not
No,
that
sir,
sign.
we only need a permit for the front sign. The interior signs are being installed.
Now, Jim pointed out that the interior sign needs a permit also.
Let me just
Did?
clarify real quickly what
No,
they're
we-
referring
we
to,
did.
because I did discuss this with the applicant when they came to me.
Okay.
The interior signs are directional signs that are permitted and allowed under the
Thank you.
zoning bylaw within, and they don't exceed the maximum size,
So
so,
they don't need a permit.
correct.
right, they're just directional.
Directional
signs.
signs.
How far from Witter Street is the interior sign?
I don't know the distance of,
The kiosk or the?
Yeah,
It's 95 feet.
95 feet.
the kiosk is 95 feet and the wooden sign my wife referred to, I don't know the exact. distance
that's
from
out
the
on
road.
Witter Street, right? The Witter,
6 feet back
Yeah,
on our
okay.
property.
because somebody else indicated that if 2 or 3 cars pulled in, then the 4th car would end up stuck on Witter
That's for the
Street.
kiosk, the 95-footer, I think.
Yeah, if they pulled in to read and stopped to read the kiosk, there would be a backup.
So if the 3 tractor trailers pulled in to read the sign, then absolutely the traffic will back up.
Okay.
But we
So
don't get
if
so
it's
much
95
traffic
feet
at
in,
that
then
moment.
I think that's fine.
All right, so who's here on behalf of the applicant again?
My name?
All right, do you want to vote, or do you want to continue? Because that's where we're at. And I'm happy to do another straw poll, because if we're going to do a vote, I'm going to vote in favor of the special permit.
So am
Me
I.
too.
Phil?
But you need 4 out of 5.
So in my opinion, with our board of four, and we get together and say, again, to one another,
So you want to tell your residents that we offered you the opportunity to talk to them
we've talked to them for 10
and
months.
to confer with respect to how we proceed, but you preferred to go forward irrespective of our invitation. That's where you want to be?
I feel that we've talked to our community, and this is 30 people of 140 who have formed this group. And I feel that it's going, if you feel that this needs another month for you to talk
We
about
don't.
it, but I'd like you to vote on it.
Great, okay.
Okay, so I told you we'd do straw poll. I think you have 3 votes in favor of the special permit, but you need 4 in order to get a special permit. And so, Boris, what's your straw vote view on this?
You have 4, Mr. Chairman.
Good.
Okay,
If you have 4, I'm gonna vote no on this, actually. I frequent the area. I don't necessarily, if I'm not necessary to actually make the approval of it, I'd actually prefer not to see a sign there. Only because I do understand there could be a safety issue to because they're not, it's a traffic area, the sight lines can be diminished. And people, in some cases, do travel through there at high speed, when they're late. But I can definitely see a reason to not approve the sign as I see it in the design and the application.
all right, so, thanks, Boris, I appreciate that. I just want to be clear as to what the stakes are here. If the board were to vote no, which means less than 4 out of 5, you are precluded from going forward with this application unless changed for 2 years under Massachusetts law. So you can choose to go forward, or you can choose to roll the dice, or you can kick this can another month and talk to your residents. Those are your choices.
Please go forward.
With that, a motion to close the public hearing?
All right?
Are there anybody else?
Anybody else want to talk about this? All right, so there's a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
No.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I would make a motion to vote positively to allow this sign to be installed.
Approve the special permit.
Special permit.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, based upon the fact that they meet our rules and regulations, and that's all we're worried about.
All right. All in favor? Because we have somebody on the Zoom, you've got to say your name out loud. So let's vote. Boris?
Boris Goyette, I'll vote no.
Freeman, yes.
Emmett, yes.
Phil, yes.
Wayne Dennison, yes. The special permit is approved.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. The next one up is a whole bunch of things simultaneously. Does anybody have all 3 of the public notices?
Yes.
Can I borrow them? I'll give them back.
All right, so This is for 17 Ocean Road South. These are the latest
No, I got
documents? Okay, you've got that.
Jim, is that the AC on the wall?
Yeah.
Thank you. No, I got that.
There you go.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
We have, the next thing on our agenda relates to
This stuff?
the Leone property. It's case number 2026-02, 2026-03, and 2026-04, which I am going to exercise the discretion to all hear together. And they relate to holding a public hearing tonight to consider the application of Joyce Leone through her applicant, Bob Galvin, under Articles 900 and 906.1 of the protective bylaw, located at 17 Ocean Street South, parcel number 139-939-124 of the Duxbury Assessor's Map, consisting of 4,197 square feet in the Residential Compatibility District and the Flood Hazard Overlay District, and owned by Joyce Leone and Deborah Leone, trustees, Leone Real Estate Trust, care of Mr. Galvin. The applicants request a variety of relief. They want to overturn the zoning enforcement officer's decision to impose a violation of the bylaw for reconstruction of a deck without zoning review or building permit pursuant to 780 CMR, and violation of zoning bylaws 401.4, number 1 and 2, 401.5, 401.6, 402, 402.3, 402.4, 402.6, 903.1, violation of setback lines and encroachment of an easement. The application can be viewed at the town's website or on the Zoning Board of Appeals page. An individual with a disability we will accommodate. And I've already read the notion that we can do this by Zoom. So this is the way we're gonna do this. We have 3 separate applications. One is to overturn the zoning enforcement officer's enforcement decision. One is for a special permit, and one is for a special permit, and the third one is for a variance related to what appears to be a deck that is built immediately adjacent to the seawall in the northern part of Duxbury. So Mr. Galvin appears to be the applicant's counsel. We have received a fair amount of correspondence about this. I know that the planning board deferred to us. We have had some letters from Judith and David Flynn from Pine Point, who indicate this letter is in support of keeping the deck at 17 Ocean Road. More families than the Leone family are impacted by the raising of the wall. The taxes reflect the ocean view they had. The former easement near the wall is left over when horse and buggy were the means by which a fire truck would access the homes. This is no longer valid. Any repairs to the new wall would be done with a beach side. Residents were told that they would be able to rebuild their decks, and the construction company was has completed some of the work. It would save the appeals board time and the residents along the wall time and money to allow the raising of the decks to provide ocean views. The design review board discussed this. They have no objections to the aesthetics of the deck. The deck was installed as an in-kind restoration of the construction that preceded the seawall. All the owners abutting the seawall are required to sign off on a maintenance easement prior to the seawall construction. Similar structures can be observed at other locations on Ocean Road North and Gurnett Road. Mr. Galvin stated his client was willing to make modifications to make wall inspections seamless and also to offer to document the financial commitment to remove the structure in the event maintenance is required. The DRB stated the conditions were outside our charges and limited to, and were beyond our scope. All right. Did we have any other communications?
Those are the ones that are in the folder.
All right, we got more.
Yep,
All right.
and I blew them up.
All right. So Nancy Rufo, the Conservation Administrator, says, I have reviewed the subject submittals and determined the work falls within the jurisdiction of the Concom. The deck at 17 Ocean Road was constructed without required permits. The work including construction of an elevated deck within the velocity zone of a barrier beach, which is prohibited under the wetlands bylaw, as well as an encroachment on the town's seawall easement without authorization, performing work without authorization within a resource area, required permits, constitute a violation of the Wetland Protections Act, the town's wetlands protection bylaw, and may be subject to fines of up to $300 a day pursuant to Chapter 40, Section 21D. All right. The matter requires a hearing before the Concom. We have an email from Tom Kelly at 43 Ocean Road North, who expressed his support for Leone's right to keep their deck as it currently stands. As a similar year-round resident and taxpayer behind the new seawall, I fully understand their desire to enjoy their property to the fullest extent, which includes maximizing the ocean view. This benefit was certainly considered in our assessments. After inspecting the beautiful new deck, it provides this benefit to which we are entitled to no detriment to the neighbors or the wall. As all involved in the construction will attest, this wall is going nowhere. And any unlikely repairs or upkeep will be done from the ocean side. I trust the town will do the right thing. All right. I don't think we have anything else. So what we're going to do is first hear from Mr. Galvin. We're going to do all of these public hearings together because they all relate to the same thing. So why don't you make a pitch as to why Mr. Wazalewski's enforcement effort was in error, why a variance is appropriate, and why a special permit would be appropriate in the absence of a variance.
Thank you. Good evening. Robert Galvin representing Joy and Jack Leone. Joy is seated in front of you. Joy and Jack are, Jack is 75 years old. Joy is 74 years old. Joy's family, the Crisafulli family, has owned this property for over 65 years. Just so the board is aware, this isn't a new deck per se. This is a reconstructed deck that replaced one that's been there for all those years.
Was the other deck 3.5 feet tall, Bob?
It was not.
All right. It's a new deck.
I agree, it's a reconstructed deck.
Right.
Okay. There's been a deck there, though, for 65 years in that same location, in that same footprint. The only thing that's different today is that deck is elevated. And there's a reason for it. The seawall is now 4 feet higher and exposed, and the deck that was there in the same footprint before was only 1.5 feet off the ground. And when the town was in the process of reconstructing the seawall, the town's contractor, Northern, removed the existing deck, indicated to the Leones as a part of that it was their obligation to replace the deck, and basically offered them a deal. And I'll explain exactly what happened. In December 2024, when the work was being completed by
All right,
Northern.
can I ask you a question before you get deep into this? Under what set of circumstances do you think Northern Construction can bind the town to any deal that you're about to describe?
Ultimately, I think my client has the responsibility. So I'm not saying that, but I think you have to understand the circumstances, because these circumstances are going to be in front of you again and again. And we're not here to try to avoid the issues. We're here to try to solve the problems. But without the context, it's impossible.
Well, but you solve the problems by building it first and then coming asking for permission?
Hey, Wayne, I have actually read every square inch of this, and I do have feelings for it. I'd love to hear Bobby out.
All right, we'll hear Baba.
Okay. So in December 2004, when the work was being completed on the wall, Northern Construction came to the Leones and said that reconstructing the deck, removing and reconstruction was part of their contract with the town. That they were obligated to remove the deck, but they were also obligated in being paid to the town to replace the deck. And they would replace it with a new one and repair their landscape, all part of their contract. The Leones asked Northern whether the deck could be raised, because the seawall was higher than it was before. It's 4 feet. I had the photographs in there to show you the before and after, so you can imagine it without even going out there what occurred. The Northern representative said the deck could be raised up. The Leones then asked them if they needed any permits to do the work, and the Northern representative represented to them that they didn't need any permits, and this was part of the contract for the town to have the deck replaced. The Leones did ask that whether the deck could be raised up, and they said yes, and no permits were required. Should they have relied on Northern? Absolutely not. I agree with you 100%. Okay, but when you've lived there as long as they have, and you haven't had to do a lot of experience with permits and approvals, and you're 74 and 75 years old, and this is going on, and they're telling you they work for the town, you believe people when they say that. So what actually happened is Northern took a crane out, pulled the deck that was there out, and began replacing the deck, and the town paid Northern to do that work in part, and the town paid for the materials to build the deck. And the Leones paid for the extra cost to elevate it and paid $10,000. And they went on with life, thinking that there was absolutely no issue, just like there had never been with the town. So the deck was a pre-existing non-conforming structure, it had been there for all these years. There was a period of time in 1991 in the no-name storm when the deck was moved and it had to be replaced, but that was just a brief period of time. So they went on. In June, Mr. Wazalewski, doing his job, not criticizing at all, goes out and notices the deck that was different from what was there before, and he issues a stop work order. The Leones don't sit there and ignore that. They actually filed an application with Rick Grady for a special permit to try to get after-the-fact permits for this project. Somehow, some way, shape, or form, that got lost. But it was fully complete, it was filed, all the plans, everything that was required, then nothing happened. The Leones didn't have a lawyer, the Grady's were the only people involved. December comes up, or January comes up, and then Mr. Wazalewski comes out and he issues them a citation for constructing as he probably should have. Not, again, criticizing him, because no one applied for a permit. So we took an appeal to the district court of the citation because there were fines. I wrote to the select board and asked the select board for permission to keep the deck there. I submitted that on February 5th. And I submitted an appeal here, I submitted a request for a special permit, and I submitted an alternative request for a variance, because we have to permit this in some way, shape, or form. The only thing that we haven't done at this particular stage, because Rick Grady is preparing it, is the filing with the Conservation Commission, which we also have to do. okay? And there's a reason why I'm here first and haven't been to the Conservation Commission yet, because we have to get all obtainable permits before we go to the Conservation Commission. I would hope they wouldn't fine us in the meantime, because we're not ignoring the problem. And if the result is unsatisfactory, you know, it'll resolve itself one way or the other. In any event, we're here tonight to appeal the citation. We're here tonight to get a special permit, and we're here in the alternative, if you don't think the special permit relief is appropriate, to ask for a variance to leave it there. There's an existing conditions plan by Rick Grady halfway through the packet. If you look at that plan, you'll see where the deck is. That's where the deck has always been. The photographs of the pre-existing deck and its dimensions, and the photographs of the after completed deck with the stop work order are on it. The reason I suggest that an appeal is valid in this case, because the Leones were plausibly told that they didn't need any permits and approval by the town's contractor. The replacement work was included in the scope of what they were being paid by the town of Duxbury to do. The deck and the railings were paid for by Northern, and all of the work was performed by Northern staff using Northern's equipment. And the Leones were told plausibly that raising it was within the purview of what was permissible. When the stop work order issued, the Leones applied for a special permit. For reasons beyond the Leones' control, that permit application just seemed to be lost. You know, Leones didn't know any differently. I did ask Mr. Wazalewski about it, and he indicated that he never saw it, but it was filed here, and there was a filing fee and plans and things like that. And what I'm asking you to do, at least with respect to the appeal, is to consider overturning it without prejudice and to see if we can resolve this matter with the relief. I will tell you that I did go down to the district court and I appealed the citation on very similar grounds. The town did not appear at that. I was told the town appeared later the same day, but there was a decision by the court recognizing that it was a pre-existing structure and the fines were overturned. In terms of the special permit, which I think is the critical relief, is we're asking for a special permit to reconstruct the pre-existing non-conforming accessory structure. Clearly an accessory structure. It was a platform before. It wasn't level with the ground. It was elevated about 1.5 feet, step up. It was in the exact same footprint. The structure was clearly in existence for more than 10 years. It had been there for 65 years in the very same way. The bylaws authorize a non-conforming structure which has been destroyed by fire or another casualty. I'd like to think this was probably a casualty. I don't think it was a fire, but certainly was accidental that all of this occurred, and there was no malicious intent on the part of the Leones, so we're really unfamiliar with the process. You're allowed to grant a special permit to allow change in the size and the intensity of the use. And I would suggest to you that this type of a structure may be reconstructed specifically, altered or extended, if you determine that it conforms with the bylaw. There's a finding by the board that the reconstruction will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, and you grant that special permit. There are no demonstrable adverse impacts on any abutting properties. We went to the design review board. They thought it looked good. We have the support of our neighbors. There's a third letter from the Ox family. They're the immediate next door neighbors. If you were to go out there and you just walk down that small stretch of Ocean Road South, there are several properties with the same issue. You're likely to see more of these coming forward because I assume that some people were told the very same thing that we were told. So we don't think it intensifies any existing nonconformities or creates any new ones because it's in the same footprint. I get it, it's higher, it's different, but it doesn't increase significantly the non-conforming nature of the structure. It's definitely not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. So we think it's in a suitable location, no impact on town amenities, doesn't impact the scenic views from any public ways, which is one of the standards you have to consider. There are many other developed properties that have the same circumstances, and I invite you to come down if you'd like to take a look. It's an appropriate use of the property in light of what's happened with the seawall. It ameliorates the impact of the lost view and the value that's been lost to them by the obstruction caused by the seawall, which the Leonis are very grateful for. They're not complaining about it. But they have a single-story cottage that was built over 75 years ago. It's not a raised property. It's not a mansion. It's a cottage that they live in. And when you now look out their picture window, you see the seawall, and you don't even see the ocean anymore. It doesn't affect public access. The seawall is actually beautiful. You can walk on it. No one could actually walk across their property anyways, so it's not obstructing any type of public access. And it really preserves the value of their property. And as I indicated, and Mr. Dennison, you recognized, we did offer to allow seawall repairs. If the structure has to be moved, that's at our expense. We will commit to it in any way, shape, or form. I still need the consent of the selectmen. I asked for that on February 5th. I followed up at the end of February with the town manager. You were busy with town meeting and overrides, and he asked if we could come in afterwards, and I said absolutely. The interesting thing about that taking was it does allow the selectmen to authorize use of this easement, and it is not going to adversely impact any of the town's rights. And to the extent that it does, that's on us. So we would agree to that as a condition. Now, I did apply for variance because I really wasn't clear as to whether it was viewed as a pre-existing non-conforming structure, but to the extent that it isn't and it's viewed as a brand new structure, it would require a dimensional variance from the side yard setbacks. Just so you know, the Leonis property goes to the low water mark, and the town's easement, which allows them to have the seawall bisects their property, creates a pretty unique circumstance. Actually, it's one of the classic circumstances when you're talking about, you know, the shape of a lot. The topography is very different on one side of the seawall to the other side. It's really the only spot you could have this type of a structure or replace it. A literal enforcement of the bylaw would obviously mean we couldn't have this. There is a substantial hardship here when you've had this that long and you have these circumstances. And unlike on an appeal where you probably can't consider the equitable circumstances, you definitely can on a variance. It's the only place you can consider equitable circumstances. And this clearly is a hardship relating to the conditions of this property and the shape of this topography and its topography. Certainly the desirable relief here can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. There is no one that is opposed to this. All the neighbors have supported in this area, and it will not nullify or substantially derogate from the intended purpose of the bylaw, because this condition exists up and down that stretch of Gurnett Road and Ocean Road North and Ocean Road South. And it's part of the, when you're dealing with a lot that's got 4,000 square feet and you have a house on it that's 1,200 square feet, this is really an important amenity. And if Joy were to stand up and tell you all the things that their family has done on this deck over the last 65 years, you start crying. And that's been their story for them, and this has been quite a lesson and tremendous expense to them. And if they had simply been told by the contractor, you gotta go get a permit, we wouldn't be here today. We would have done it the right way. So I'm asking you to consider granting that special permit to allow them to do this. I think they present a compelling story. I know it has to be subject to conservation approval, and I agree that it also would have to be subject to the selectmen's consent. And I would be willing to accept those conditions if you were to grant the relief that we requested. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Board have questions?
I have a couple of quick questions, Bob. First, just to clarify, this reconstructed deck or new deck, however we want to describe it, is the same size on the same footprint?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And the prior deck was a permanently installed deck. It was not something that was lifted up and moved for the winter, or?
It was not.
Okay. And you already clarified that you did not receive any letter from any abutter, whether direct abutter or nearby, that was not in favor of this.
No, and I did include some aerial photographs, and I represented to the board, and I hope you'd consider it, that these conditions exist on all the other properties, and eventually, everybody that's in there is probably gonna have to come in and ask for the same type of relief that they have.
Other questions? Emmett?
No, just comment? I don't have any questions.
Go for it.
I think it's just a horrible circumstance, and in reality, really think about it, everybody, the town of Duxbury sort of paid to do this. We paid Northern, who bought all the wood to do this, which is kind of, if you think about it that way, it's kind of strange.
Should have been part of the application with Conservation Commission to remove this and replace it. But I'm wondering if the Conservation Commission would allow it to be constructed as it sits now, or would it have to be lowest structural member 3 feet above the 17 elevation and all that kind of stuff? Is it going to be, they have to go through conservation? I'm wondering if they should do that first and then we reevaluate it and then approve it.
That's an interesting question, and I think it's a good one. Boris, do you have a question?
I did, Wayne. I have two that came to light. One, I think Emmett touched on it. So Northern Construction, it's true that they could serve as an agent, so to speak, for the town to initiate replacement construction or new construction, however you want to determine it. That's true.
Northern Construction did the work.
They did the work, they provided the materials, from what we're being told, and the economics that the numbers we've seen they've paid, I truly believe it, because 10 grand wasn't buying all that wood and building the deck.
I mean, they provided the labor and the materials, and they asked for $10,000 additionally from the Leonis for the elevation work.
Got it.
Yep.
But the town gave them permission to solicit the business. Is that true?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. I mean, I'm gonna meet with the select board, and maybe they have more information. I have been told that one of the family has already been before the select board.
All right. So I think the answer to your question, Boris, is it's very hard to get town permission unless you actually ask the select board in the first instance. So candidly, I think the answer to that question is no. But
Okay, all right, that's important, thank you. That's
yeah.
initial permit application, Attorney Galvin mentioned that there were fees paid. Do they have proof of a canceled check or something? That
Yes.
there was a deposit, but no permit actually filed? Is there any record of that?
We have proof of payment, but we don't have proof that permits were filed because the Leonis were told that no permits were required, and this was part of the contractual work.
But second to that, you had said that Grady had did an initial permit evaluation that was supposedly not received by the town or lost in the way.
It was filed on August 21st, 2025, but somehow not processed.
Can we hear from, part of this thing is an appeal from the order of the building commissioner, and I would like to hear from the building commissioner as to what happened to the Grady request for a permit? Did it ever exist? And B, whatever else you want to say.
Thank you. Jim Wozlewski, I'm the building commissioner that unfortunately has to deal with this problem that is going to be before the board quite a few times in the future. This is a pretty pivotal situation that's occurring. It's unfortunate that it happened post-construction. In regards to the first application, it was when we received it, we sent an email that I have right here back to Rick Grady, which is dated August 27, informing him that he should apply for a variance and appeal, and we never heard back from him. So we had an incomplete application, which is why we did not process that application. So I waited and time went on. I went out, visited, witnessed the thing there with no action, and that's when I filed.
So Rick comes here routinely,
He does.
right? Is Rick here tonight?
I don't see him.
He's pretty spot on generally.
He is.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So I want to read this to the board because I think it's important here because this is a subject comes up that we dropped the ball on this and I want to clarify that we did not. So on Wednesday, August 27, Lauren Hache, who was our previous administrative assistant for the ZBA, sent this message. Hi, Rick. After speaking with Jim, he advised that the Leons should be applying for a variance rather than a special permit. He also noted that, yes, they should appeal as well. So I can use the first 2 pages of the application that was submitted for both applications. For the variance application, we are missing supplements A and G. For the appeal of the Building Commission's decision to issue a stop work order, that is separate but similar application to the ZBA with different time frames, and when the hearing is held and decision is due, I have attached the appeal application. If you could complete that and send it in with the same series of checks, we can start the process that as well. I am sorry for any confusion. They just require these applications to be filed separately. We can use some of the same existing condition plans, photos, etc. So just complete the appeal application and checks and we'll get it going. We can use the first 2 pages of the application, the supplement A and from above, and then we will need your support in supplement H. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. If you have any questions, please reach out to Patty, who was now coming after Lauren. So we never heard back from the applicant, which is why this was never processed.
I'm going to ask a really narrow question of Mr.
Sure.
Galvin. Is there any aspect of that request that you disagree with?
I do. Oh, well, could I speak?
Can I
I want to do it
Okay.
one bit at a time here.
The building inspector and I have been communicating since January about this. And this is the first time I ever heard any of that. And I don't know why that would be the case because I have no issues with the building inspector. But if he had told me any of that before, I would have, and the only thing he
But the applicant received it through Mr. Grady, who comes here all the time.
Well, honestly, this is the first I heard of any of that. And I'm sorry, I would agree if all of that happened, then I didn't try to malign the building inspector. As a matter of fact, I said he was doing his job. And if I had known any of that, I would have had a harder conversation with Mr. Grady beforehand. But I mean, I come to a meeting, I've been asking for information, and the only thing I ever heard prior to that moment, right now, was that I never saw it.
Okay. Jim, why don't you talk about the rest of this thing?
Certainly don't recall withholding that information in that conversation. The big issue at hand here is that this thing was constructed for years down along that seawall. We know what's happened down there, and I'm going to just speak to that because it's been a loosey-goosey thing that these low decks that were there were considered patios, not regulated as structures under zoning or as anything regulated by the building permit. These things were not permitted. There's plenty of them down there. Conservation allowed that to happen, but it was loosey-goosey. It was never anything filed on it. The issue at hand is that when the new seawall was built, everybody wants to raise these. I've had meetings for a year and a half to try and come up with a process to help people that live down there and give them answers to manage the expectation. I haven't got to that point because there's separate regulating authorities. I can't write a policy for them, right? The town did a taking. To place anything in there, permitted, et cetera, as Bob mentioned, requires prior approval. That didn't happen. There's an appeal here before you. Did I interpret the zoning bylaw correctly? I feel as though I have. You know, that's really important to understand. I really feel bad about this situation because it's a big problem down there with the seawall that's built. Don't like the fact that it's happened this way. I'm in favor of something happening to make this project go forward. But there's other regulating authorities that, Bob, you can condition it on that, and that's the purview of the board. But it's a big problem that I think is going to be before you many times.
Speaking of that, Jim, so are there others down the pike?
Probably. I got some people that are constructing and designing temporary structures right now and meeting with me. prior to building them.
What-
And I'm like, I don't think you can even put that in there.
But they're doing it.
Like a
They're trying.
stairs,
No, I
stairs
haven't
up
had
to
anyone
it?
do
or-
it yet that I'm aware of.
So there are no other,
So here's what happened.
there are others down there.
So the
If you walk
construction,
straight down that wall, you could probably put 12 red tags out there,
yep, and
right?
we can look at an air map and look at
Right.
them,
I
and see
don't,
them.
I don't care, but we know there are 12 others or some others. This isn't,
I can't confirm that right now.
I've
I
walked.
have this case in front of you.
I've been
so-
down there.
Yeah.
So they're not the one horse pony. Honestly, I have so much sympathy and empathy for them.
I do
They were
too.
really bamboozled. I hope we can find a
Yeah,
way.
but we built them a nice seawall too.
Agreed, but
Not only
Northern,
bamboo.
Northern in the town of Duxbury built them a deck.
Yep, I
Right,
agree.
So let me
All
clarify.
right.
The town of Duxbury did not build
We
them the
paid,
deck.
we paid Northern a lot of money and Northern did this.
And Northern did this without permits, and they were, and I met with them post finding out about the situation and told them, every deck that they remove, they require a demolition permit to remove it. So we could memorialize it under the zoning bylaw, which didn't happen with this deck, which is frustrating. I can't confirm the size of the existing deck.
It's on the seawall plan. And what's on the seawall plan does not match what's there today.
Well, my
They
point
added quite a bit.
my
The
point
footprint
exact-
is not the same.
Right. So, Northern did not obtain the permits which created this debacle.
Right.
We stopped it when I found out about it, we met with them, and here we are today with,
Is that-
unfortunately,
Is it
these
bigger?
Hold on.
super nice folks are at the mercy of
Right.
all of this.
So, thanks, Jim. Would anybody else like to, Mr. Galvin, you can talk.
If this was virgin land and it hadn't had a deck there, we wouldn't be here tonight because you would not be able to reconstruct with the deck there. The Conservation Commission would be well within their purview to say, no way. But it was a pre-existing deck. So, that's why we have to go to them. And I don't disagree that that has to be done.
You're saying, Bob, that if they had gone to conservation and they had a pre-existing deck, that conservation would allow them to remove the deck and rebuild it exactly the way it was?
They have rights, pre-existing rights too.
At the same height, or would they require them to raise it
You'd have to
up?
file a notice of intent. This
Yep.
wouldn't be a request for determination of applicability. They would, if they permit it, they would probably make sure that it met and didn't obstruct the flow of washover on the seawall. And my expectation of candidly is when we go to the Conservation Commission, which we will do as soon as Mr. Grady finishes the filing, they'll probably have us modify something of the side so the deck so that water can flow through and floodwater won't be obstructed. But the answer is, I actually think that they will allow it, but they will condition it.
Is this the only work that this applicant has done without permit? What about building out the basement into separate rooms? Did they do that without a permit?
I don't know, it's the first I've heard. I could ask Mrs. Leone.
Where's that in our packet? Anywhere?
What?
Is that in here?
No, I'm asking a question.
Oh, all right.
Was there some other work in the property, Mrs. Leone?
Probably years ago by my parents, but they just enclosed the furnace.
Okay, thanks.
I think I mean, this house has been there for
We
more than
should
75
get
years.
Nancy to say something.
It's a cottage, it's,
Who knew, we need some, all right. Let's hear from Ms. Rufo.
Hello. Nancy Rufo, Conservation Administrator. I was listening upstairs, and I thought I would come down and just clarify a couple of things. I do know that Mr. Galvin has said that there has been something existing there for quite some time. I just looked on our GIS from the 1990s to current. And it does look like at times, like I think he said during the no-name storm, there might not have been anything there. I couldn't tell from 2001. It looks like 2011 to 2012, there wasn't anything there. And then there were various sizes. 2013-14, it was smaller. 2018, it was larger. But in terms of what Concom might have allowed there, there is no permit that we had for any of it. So the commission will allow some of those temporary patios. They're almost like pallets or puzzle pieces, which can be placed and then removed during the winter. Or if it was placed in the easement, it could easily be taken up for the seawall easement. But we don't have any permits at all for this, number one. And number two, it's considered expansion in a velocity zone, which our bylaw does not permit at all. Something permanent like that. So obviously, the applicant does know that they need to come before Concom, and I can't speak for the commissioners, but that is very clear in our bylaw that expansion in the velocity zone is not allowed.
Thank you.
So, hopefully that clarified a little bit.
Are there others who would like to speak to this issue?
Kevin and Jerry McShane from 116 Gurnett Ave, and we want to speak on behalf of it. We definitely support it, and like Jim had said, it's all the way up and down, and it wasn't drawn out to any of us before the wall project. We were told there's a temporary easement for the construction, and everything that's taken out will go back in. And we didn't know about anything else, but we definitely support the Leonis and everybody in the neighborhood there.
And I think the person immediately behind you agrees with you.
I do, and I just want to say, in fairness, I feel so bad. I know, Joy, there was no malicious intent. Like, there is a lot of confusion. We were one of the last people to sign that easement. I had such a bad feeling in my gut that I would not sign it. And I tried to get answers, and I couldn't. I was finally told, I'm so upset, I'm sorry, I have to calm down. I went down to the town manager. They told me, well, the town manager will answer your questions. I took a half day off work. I waited a half hour. Someone finally came out and said, he's too busy. You know, I said, I didn't feel good about this whole thing. And then I talked to someone in Marshfield who had signed the easement, and they said, call your planning director or manager. And there was a woman, I think her name was Valerie. I apologize, I don't.
You got that right.
You're right.
Okay. She was very nice. She called me back. She put us at ease. She said, listen, this isn't a maintenance easement. They just need to get to the wall if something happens. That's all it is. Don't worry. They need access to your property. They don't want to have to get it every time. You know, and she made me feel really good. Honestly, I think we were the last people to sign it. So we signed it. Then we started hearing all this stuff. The Northern Construction came. Jack was very nice, the guy. I mean, he ruined all of our properties. He assured us everything would be put back as it was. He was very nice. I mean, disrupted the whole summer, but whatever. And he did do that. He left, everything was put back. And then we hear about all of this, and we're both like, you know, what is going on? And there was no malicious intent. You know, they did what they did. That deck was there. I know there's a term called grandfathering. That's probably not a legal term, but
It might actually be a legal term.
Okay. It was there. I mean, all those lots are tiny. I don't know how you people apply these zoning laws. I wouldn't want your job. Because they're tiny, tiny lots, but I know that's why there's variances and special permits and all of that. And I think if all of us if people understood that ahead of time, I think there'd be different outcomes. But we did not know, people did not know this. I mean, honestly and truly, I honestly have to say there was no malicious intent of people trying to like do things behind people's backs. So I just, in fairness, I just wanted to say we do approve it, and I don't envy you at all.
Okay, and the gentleman, I presume is your husband,
Yes,
identified
I'm
himself, but can you identify
Oh,
yourself,
I'm sorry,
ma'am?
I'm Geraldine McShane.
All right.
Yeah, we're at 116 Granite Road.
Thank you very
I
much.
apologize.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Join the club.
Hi. Hi, Wayne.
Alicia Babcock, Ocean Road South. I'm pretty sure you know I was the chair, or am the chair of the Seawall Committee, active in town on other boards and things. So, and I also am an acting member of the Duxbury Beach Residents Association, and I live on Ocean Road South. My parents are direct abutters to the Leonis. I spent my whole life growing up next door to them, and her mother, and I think you know that the whole neighborhood is just very generational. Very little turnover in homes over there. So this really was an innocent mistake. And I don't know if you'd like to see, but I spent a little time today making some visual aids just to, if you want to just take a couple of minutes to just take a look at the situation. I just think this helps explain what the emotional piece of this is. I know that that's not what you're voting on necessarily. I've been down to talk to Jim many times about this. It's a really tough thing. Everything is non-conforming down there. And if you go back in time when we were hashing out the seawall project, which took, like 7 years, really the evolution of the neighborhood was that these were little shacks in the sand. None of them were even temperature controlled or winterized. And the original seawall came, people felt more safe, they started to build up, and the neighborhood over time just started to evolve with how things evolved, with the infrastructure. And that's kind of what's happening now. People are just trying to maneuver with what the new normal is.
So is it still evolving and things are still being done down there like they were in the old days?
I think what's happened is, Ocean Road North was phase 1, and everybody there was impacted in a similar way. And over time, most of the people raised and rebuilt. So now they're
We've got a bunch.
higher.
We had a ton of people come in and say, we
Yeah.
want to build higher.
Sure,
Right.
sure.
There's two of them right after this,
Yeah, yeah.
just
but-
so we all know.
Right, but not everybody.
No, not everybody can afford to do that.
Of course.
Right.
So, people are trying to do the best they can.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to give you a sense of what's going on.
You're up, you can show us anything you want.
Okay, so this was life before, okay? So, this is actually my parents' house, and this is the Leonis, it's the small cottage beside. And this was their deck. They've always had a deck there.
Could you bring that up? I actually
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
see
absolutely.
that far.
Yep. And you could see the old seawall, how,
Which is
okay,
the deck?
over here,
That one there?
yeah,
Okay.
okay? Oh, I'm sorry, no, the one on the other side, with
Okay.
the aqua umbrella, okay? So the reason I'm showing you this is because you're sitting on a deck 6 inches or a foot off the ground, you had a completely open view.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see all the nanas and grandpas in here. They sit up here and they watch their grandchildren and the kids play on the beach, and you have full view.
Can I ask you a
Yes.
question?
Sure.
Did you were deeply involved in
Yes,
this,
I
and
was.
you did an incredible job with this.
Thank you.
Right. Did you tell the Leonis they needed permits?
This happened off-season. I wasn't there. And I'll tell you, I think the problem is that Northern Construction.
No. I asked a very, very narrow question.
Yeah,
Did
well-
you tell them they needed
No,
permits?
No, I didn't,
Okay.
because I didn't know it was being built.
Okay.
Our phase on Ocean Road South, because of the birds, had to be done in late fall, and it had to be completed by April 1st, because that's when the plovers come. There's a lot of seasonal, okay, stuff that goes on. And they finished very late in the season. So I did not know that it was being constructed. But again, I don't tell my neighbors what to do. I mean, we all consider one another family, to be honest with you. We've grown up, I mean, this is, third, fourth generation. So this seawall was very, very bittersweet to us because, this is our seawall was literally crumbling, which is why DPW was down all the time patching these cracks and crevices with putty, trying to keep the water out of the joints because it was contributing to the cracking. And this is actually the Leone's house right here before the wall was raised.
Okay.
Okay? And this here is just another shot. This is their house here, and you can see their patio furniture and everything is right there. Now, like I said, my parents are next door. Their deck is also low, and I just wanted you to see just people standing on it so you could just see relative height here, They just sit there and they watch the kids on the beach, okay?
Alicia, did your parents rebuild their deck? Or is there a deck there?
Well, yes, they have a deck there, but, to be perfectly honest with you, everybody here from Ocean Road South, we're all, including myself, we're kind of concerned about what's gonna happen. We are very concerned about the Leones.
Right, I get that.
But yes,
So
but what's
is there a deck
happening
at your
here-
parents' house, very similar?
Well, I think everybody's waiting, because we're setting a precedent here.
We're not
They would
getting
like to.
No,
have
I
a-
understand, but I'm asking a very narrow question.
Which is-
Next door, are your
Yes.
parents, do they have a deck?
Yes, they do,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
yes.
Did
and
they
their
raise their
and-
deck?
Did they
and
rate, yeah.
No,
Did-
not yet, because they just, this is all new.
Not in the easement.
Yeah. Well, their deck was permitted when they built it to go to the wall, so.
Well, if it goes to the wall, it's in the easement.
Correct, but it hasn't been replaced. Northern Construction was contracted to restore the properties back to their original condition. And in the contract, there was no permit provision that they had to go back and permit every single thing. It was just part of the contract. So I think that's where the confusion lies. When Northern
There's a-
says we didn't need a permit,
There's a lot of
because
confusion.
they didn't need one.
How many decks
Yeah.
were built without permits?
Yeah, but that's how the neighborhood is.
I know,
Jim's
but it's
right.
not how the
So
world
then-
operates.
So then you're in the
Jim's
same,
right. This neighborhood, it's all non-conforming. In fact, I brought
Right.
the seawall, I see that you have the seawall plans there, but you can see it with the overhead view. It's completely non-conforming.
Yeah, no, we deal with it
So
all the
it's-
time. The neighborhood is non-conforming in terms of lot size all over the place, and we deal with special permits
So
constantly.
just so that you see what happened, okay? So this was you can see my parents standing on that deck, okay? This is what happened during construction in the same spot. And this is what the view looks like from their deck where they were standing with their friends now.
so it didn't get removed and replaced?
What, their deck?
Yeah,
No, the
Well,
deck
no,
is the
because
same.
The lower portion did get removed because
Okay.
it was in the construction area.
okay.
But this is the view that the Leones have, and this is the view that my parents have right now, and most of the people that are here.
And that's the better protection against the water that the
Oh, of
town
course.
spent millions of dollars to
Of
finance.
course.
Many.
But this is why it's bittersweet, because we had to have it, but it changed the whole landscape of the neighborhood, so people are just trying to adjust, and so, it's like a fortress now, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Okay.
But I just want you to see, especially like here, this is a good one here, because you can see this is the old wall. After phase one, this is where the new wall ended and the old wall connected during the next phase. You can see this house, what happened. Half of it, it just got completely blocked off. And this is another, so you can just see the drastic difference there. Okay?
Yep.
And then, as it pertains to Ocean Road South, this is the area in question right here. So this is the way it looks now, and basically from the front of these houses to the wall, these are tiny little areas. This is our only play space, so to speak. And you know, it's,
The wall didn't move, just the height of it moved.
well, it's almost 5 feet high. I mean,
And it's wider.
and it is
It's wider.
thicker, yeah. So,
Pursuant to an easement.
yeah, so, I guess, I know it's not great to do something and then ask for permission later. I know that that's. the
It's
thing to
not the
do.
first time it's ever
It was-
happened here.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe it was an innocent mistake. They have always had a deck. We've all always had decks. They just said, oh, well, we're just gonna put it back, but we're gonna put it up higher. They really did not know.
Okay.
But the other thing is that what I'm concerned about in this discussion tonight, and I know I've talked to Jim about this too, is, you know, there is certainly a view piece of this that everybody's missing. I mean, we were in a tough spot. We either get a new wall or lose our houses. So it was a tough position to be in. So we're all very grateful for the wall. We just would like to be able to, it's like living, you know, behind a dam, really. And it's really gone from being the most beautiful place to now you know, in some places it's like a little depressing because you're just staring at a slab of concrete. My concern is that you can't see the beach anymore. You can't see the sand. So I know even for myself, it's really hard. I know if I have guests over, if they have children, you know, you can't see what's going on the beach anymore, especially for older people. They can't like climb up and, you know, it's just, it's caused a little bit of like a safety concern that I'm concerned about not being able to see what's happening on the beach. Stuff happens on the beach, stuff happens in the water.
Yeah, there was one of the letters tonight alluded to.
Yes.
Yeah,
to
yeah, I mean,
somebody seeing over from the high deck.
yeah. So, I
A
mean-
grandchild or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you here, I just pulled the article quick tonight off the internet. June 16th, 25, I don't know if you remember, there was a scuffle in the parking lot, in the northern parking lot, and somebody was running around with like something that looked like a gun and was threatening to shoot somebody or something, and the police came flying down. And, you know, they came looking at because the person was running up and down the beach, and they came running down, and they ran between the houses to try to get up and over. And, you know, they got here, and it was like, okay, now what do we do? And they all ran over to Leone's deck because they were the only ones that had a high enough perch that they could see anything. So I'm asking you, I guess, I don't know how Jim can do it, but we really need to be our own zone, I think. We've talked about that a million times, because we just are our own entity. I don't know how to get around all of that. You guys would have to figure out how to do that, but I'm here.
So you petition the planning board
Yeah,
to change the zoning bylaw,
okay,
and then you move that to the public hearing at town meeting,
okay,
and you get 2/3 of the town to say yes.
okay,
I'll tell you exactly how you do it.
okay.
She knows, she's been to a lot of town meetings.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been involved in any zoning changes.
Right, but
So-
you sat there about it.
Oh, sure.
Bring the people
Or
in.
they could
course.
succeed from the town and pay for their own wall.
All right. So,
Yeah.
Ms.
So I
Babcock,
guess
is there anything else you'd like to
I'm
say?
just, I'm here to explain, and I'm also here to support and ask if you could consider, you know, granting a variance. There are a lot of people sitting here that really would love, to be perfectly honest, to do the same thing, because we just want to see over the wall. And then from there, maybe we can take it a step further, and maybe Jim, and I can get with Jim, or maybe I can go to the planning board, and we can start that process that you're talking about, and,
Looks like him in the back of the room.
what's that?
Yep. Planning
Looks like
board.
our planning director's up right back here.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, that's all I have. I just wanted you to see what it was like. I think visuals help.
Every one of those requests starts with Matthew. He's sitting back there in the corner.
All right, thank you very much.
Go ahead, please.
Just for the record, I've had so many conversations over my years dealing with these challenging situations and talked to so many people down there to petition the board and try and get changes to the zoning bylaw, because that would be so advantageous to all those lots down there. It takes some effort.
I no longer sit on the planning board, but I agree with you.
Yeah, I hope that happens.
I think that the project may change a little bit if they go through conservation, and I think it's silly to approve this or disapprove this without them going through that process
You want to
first.
kick the can until Concom hears it.
Yeah, what if Conscom doesn't approve what we vote to accept?
You can come back to you.
Yeah, we didn't have to. I think usually we like Concom to approve it first, don't we? Or
Sometimes we'll vote to approve.
Subject
To the approval on this one would be the Conservation Commission and the Selectmen.
I do, and we're just discussing this now.
Right.
I don't feel any great desire to fine them in any way or to,
I agree.
right, it's like, who cares? Let's get rid of
Yeah,
the fine.
they're in a pickle.
Right.
There's someone raising their hand.
They're raising their hand in such a way that it's more important than I'm talking?
Sorry, I just wanted to let you know, wouldn't want you to finish. Just before you, I didn't want you to go to finish.
All right. Who's raising their hand?
One of the neighbors.
All right, let's hear from that person, and they can interrupt me from talking about the fact that I don't think the fine should be imposed.
I didn't want you to.
There are no fines right now, though.
No, but tomorrow they could start again.
Right.
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 All right, all right,
Oh, there's a-
Marcy O's, who is on the board. Let's hear from you, and where do you live, and what do you have to say?
And you're muted right now.
Or is it Patricia who's raising her?
No, there's Patricia there.
Oh, that's Patricia.
We got you now.
Okay. I'm Marcy Loads. I live at 7 Ocean Road South and have been friends with the Leones. Remember when this was going on in the winter and we had communication, although my husband and I were not down there, we had ongoing conversations. I knew what they were going through. Again, I think it's just an unfortunate circumstance that they took the voice of Northern and saying, yes, it's okay, it's the same thing, we can raise it up. You've heard a lot of that discussion tonight. I just really wanted to say they did not do anything with any ill intention. We all were excited that they were doing it. At least we had a place to go crash and go see over the wall. My husband's family has had the house since the mid-40s, and we don't have a large deck out there. We never do. We just have a removable platform. But we're able to go down and see over that wall. They're kind enough to let people come down and use the deck and view our guests when they're down there. I know that deck has also, when the Leone's grandsons were in the house, there was a young person out on a craft in the water that was struggling, and they were able to get notification out through the family, get down there to the water, the grandson was, and help this person who was in distress. We don't have lifeguards there, so we've sort of all been the people in charge over the years of looking over our walls. My house is raised, but with a lower wall, we could all be out there to help ensure one another's safety. As has been stated before, we are very much a family down there. I'm newer, being a second marriage, coming down here with Barry, but I love it here, and I just want to see people, continue to be supported by whatever the boards, whatever the process we have to go through, to change the zoning laws. Nobody wants to do anything to frustrate any of our abutters, to frustrate the town, to do anything with any ill will. We just want to go about things the right way and be supported. I do know that there are other houses down on Gurnett Road that they didn't have structures, but they were able to have Northern raise their ground up so that their grass now goes up to a foot below the wall.
Well,
So they can put their furniture out there now and they can see over the wall. So things have been loosey-goosey, things have been done in the best way that people thought they were handling it. So it would be my hope in the future too that we can have meetings to talk about what can we do, what can't we do, and having it sort of transparent.
All right, well,
Table discussion, if that's possible, I'd love to be part of that.
all right.
But thank you for.
Thank you very much. With respect to the board, I think there's a meaningful consensus around the notion of let's see what the select board says about invasion of the easement and the Concom says about whether or not you can do this at all. Is there anybody who disagrees with that?
nope.
No, I don't disagree. I think we're
So,
trying to come up with a solution.
so my suggestion is to continue this until both.
We will agree. I just didn't want to get caught up in you got to go to the ZBA and get the permit because those are attainable permits first. And as long as Concom doesn't do that, we'll go to Concom and then we'll come back.
Yeah, why don't you
She's right
Concom?
here. She's coming up.
All right.
I don't think Concom cares about the ZBA.
Nancy Rufo, Conservation Administrator.
Nancy doesn't care about the ZBA at all, I can tell you.
Oh, I care very much. But we will not send it back because it doesn't have permits from here. And I also did want to say, we don't think it was done intentionally or with any ill will.
I don't think anybody thinks so.
No, I know, and Attorney Galvin had mentioned earlier about conservation fines. We're not leveling any fines and, until this is resolved. So I just don't want anybody to worry about that.
All right,
But-
so my inclination on this is to ask, first of all, they built in the easement for the town and they have to ask the town. And second of all, they have to ask the Concom. And when all that's done, they can come back to us. In the interim, I prefer not to see fines assessed.
I don't plan to do that.
Okay.
I think the only other thing that we ought to have confirmed is that what they're trying to do meets the building code also. So we need Jim's 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when this is all said and done, they would still need to apply for building permits and comply with construction in the flood zone.
Yep. Once that's done, we can
Thank you.
All right, but let's deal with this after others have considered it. I mean, I very much appreciate all of the effort that people put into talking about this. And candidly, personally, I fully understand that part of Duxbury is all non-conforming. And we really ought to deal with that proactively. I've suggested that for some period of years.
I think a majority of our cases
I know,
are in that neighborhood.
right,
Whole neighborhood.
and we should deal with that proactively.
Right.
But the place that starts is with the planning board.
Yep.
And I think everybody else ought to follow those procedures and come see us for special permits after they get through
Yeah,
conservation and
let's
building.
let's come to us last.
Yep. Please.
Thank you for clarifying that. I've had so many conversations, and the reason that I spoke with the town manager, because it was like, which one do they go to first? Because the select board typically takes the advice from the other boards to follow up on their decisions, so I'm glad that we're clarifying this.
Well, the
process
select
right
board's got to decide whether you can build something in the easement.
now. 100%.
All right.
And not necessarily give them permission to do it.
Right.
Right.
But they need the selectmen's permission.
They do.
Yeah.
They need the selectmen's approval to be able to do it, but the selectmen can't overrule all of us.
Not
The rest of the board.
the Concom and all that.
All right, so what I would suggest that we do is we continue this for at least 2 months
Probably. By the time you get on the other boards.
and give you an opportunity to go to the other boards.
Agreeable.
All right.
Peacefully enjoy your deck for 2 months.
Yeah.
And hopefully longer.
It's going to be nice by the time we talk about it again.
I know.
I would guess probably what you're gonna end up having to do, seeing that there's a difference between the footprint on the seawall plan and the footprint on Grady's plan, is that the stairs and whatever decks lead up to it and stuff are gonna end up having to be inside that footprint, so the deck will probably end up a little smaller.
There is a stair that was added.
Yep, it looks like 2 stairs.
Well, you had to get up to it.
Well, there's a.
One up
there's a
under the
step-
wall.
Stairs over the seawall, but those are like a removable stair. The stair to the deck is new.
Would you allow removable walls, Nancy, or removable stairs up to the wall?
That is you mean going to the beach?
Going up, no, these are on the back side of the wall.
No, they have removable stairs over the seawall to the beach.
Oh, okay.
They have big hooks.
Correct.
Those are okay, you
That's-
think?
That's a DPW call because they own the wall.
Okay.
But,
As long as we don't pin to the wall.
yeah, I believe as
Okay.
long as it's not.
Great.
Right, there was a memo in here from
Yeah, there's a
former
memo
Peter
there.
Butkus said,
Yeah,
All right.
from 2018.
So what I'd like to do is to continue this until what date?
June 11th or 25th?
June 25th.
so. As long as we don't have like 9 meetings that night, I'm great with that.
Well, I don't think we have any meetings scheduled for June 25th right
Yeah.
now.
No, I mean, 9 things,
9 cases.
cases.
The 23rd, it's the 23rd, June 23rd.
All right, I move to continue to June 23rd.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye,
I'm Wayne Dennison.
I Freeman.
I am it.
Hi, Phil.
All right, and you're just going to sign the sheet.
I'll sign the extension.
Thanks, Bill. All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Appreciate it very much.
All right.
So we gotta keep this one.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right,
Maybe we'll
we,
get new stuff.
we have more to do tonight, largely because things got canceled a couple weeks ago.
Right, no, I know.
The next one, I cannot sit on.
Ooh, me either.
That's
Oh,
all
wait a
right.
minute, what is the next
Hold on,
one?
Vertex Tower.
Oh, yeah, I can sit on it.
I can,
All right.
That's an easy one.
very easy.
All right,
We've been here twice.
I'm not going to talk about it. So I can't sit on this. In order to get what you're asking for,
Do you want a chair?
generally you need 4 or 5.
No, you can,
I can't sit on this because as the applicant knows, I've done work for Vertex Towers. And therefore, I'm going to recuse myself from this, but if you'll agree to go forward 4 or 5, Phil will run the meeting and we'll go from there.
Unless
Go
one of
for
you
it,
guys
Phil.
would like to run it.
no, Chairman, let's go.
And make it snappy.
Chop, chop, huh?
There's a lot of paper here.
Did you read it, lady?
Yeah, I did read it.
Water fountain right there. Outside there.
I think you gotta go up. There's no plumbing on this floor.
All right, case number 2026-05. The petitioner is Vertex Tower Assets LLC. The address is 421 Elm Street, parcel 060-043-000. Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in the Mural Room to consider the application of Vertex Tower Assets LLC for a special permit. Property is located at 421 Elm Street and owned by Stuart M. and Leslie A. Lee at 421 Elm Street. The applicant proposes to construct a ground-mounted monopole wireless telecommunications service facility with a 120-foot tall monopole placed less than 120 feet from the nearest lot line. I think that's probably a lengthy enough summary. We know that this is really just an ask to obtain a new permit for one that has expired, correct?
That is correct.
Has
My
the
name is
design
Francis
changed
Parisi.
at all?
that?
Sorry. Has the design changed at all?
Nothing has changed. We're just, we've already kept the permit alive with the planning board. We had the site plan approved from the planning board. In addition to the recommendation to you guys, they made the same recommendation. Nothing has changed. We're just looking for an extension.
Okay, thanks.
So, one thing I did notice, that the applicant now is not a licensed telecommunications carrier. It's like, tell me about that.
We never were when it was
Right.
approved back in 2020. What's happened in the telecommunications world is that the names that you've heard of, like Verizon and AT&T, have gotten out of the real estate business.
Right.
And folks like Vertex build the infrastructure. We've been very active. We just built one in Raynham last month. We got a permit application in Holbrook next Tuesday. We just built 3 down the Cape. We've built dozens throughout rural Massachusetts
Sure.
and rural Hampshire. And then we lease space on the tower to it was the same thing back in 2020. We just, in addition to all the local regulations, we have a lot of federal regulations, so it takes time to clear.
Right.
And so it just got delayed. And then when I was here last time, it was COVID. That put a couple of years delay in the whole project. We're intending on moving forward. We'll be building it this summer. It's just
Oh, you actually do intend to build?
oh yeah, we'll be building it this year.
So one other, so it's a monopole, if I remember correct, designed to collapse like an accordion? Is that a,
What happens is, because there's a monopole with a lot of cabling inside.
Sure.
If there's any kind of catastrophic winds, it might bend, but it doesn't collapse. The strongest place is at the base.
Right.
So there's been no incidents whether you get a topple over.
Right.
In some extreme cases, Hurricane Sandy and things like that, they've had some bending.
Right.
But certainly not collapse.
I just felt that was a good thing to bring up for the general public.
Absolutely. Other than that, nothing's really changed in the
Yep.
application since 2020.
Okay, I mean,
more not.
in terms of other boards, the only things that we've received have been, Design Review Board has no objection. Board of Health, no comment. I don't know that I saw something from I did see something from the Planning Board. Their concern is that, to summarize, that the new permit, the applicant agrees to adhere to the terms that were included with the prior permit. So,
The zoning board gave a decision that was contingent on planning board approval. Nothing has changed. We agreed all the conditions that were imposed.
and we have a copy of the prior
What about
decision by the Zoning Board of Appeals.
There's an extra 20 feet. You have a right,
It didn't change the project.
Right.
We expanded the lease area because some of the utilities that were part of the project were outside of the lease area. So in our discussions with the landowner, we expanded the lease area. It doesn't change the footprint. It doesn't change anything.
Right.
It's just our legal right. We were putting utilities in areas that we didn't lease, so we changed the lease area. That's all.
I think one of my concerns is the last cell tower that we approved caused the service in parts of town to get a lot worse because they were removed from some locations to other locations. Are any of the carriers in this particular area where we are now,
No.
are any of those carriers going to move over to you? And
What's happening in the world, you hear about all the marketing, 3G, 4G, 5G, that's the different generations of technology. To make room for 5G, they've dismantled 3G.
okay,
And what that means is our old analog phones don't work anymore. So it actually means that we need more and more sites throughout places, because places where you had analog coverage 10 and 15 years ago, you no longer have digital coverage. So we're actually building more and more. We've seen more activity in suburban Massachusetts in the last 2 years. We've seen more in the last 2 years than we've seen in the last 5 years because of that.
because I
No one's
think
going to be moving. They're going to be adding.
I think Verizon was next door to us at the church, and when they built the tower at the police station, Verizon pulled out. So all the Verizon customers in this area lost service.
yeah, so do you think I'll be
And I
able to
think-
make a phone call at my house down in Powder Point?
I'm not sure where you live, but
I'll approve it right this second, but we're gonna approve you anyway.
I think A&T is still next door at the church, and I'm wondering if AT&T is going to move out of there down to you guys.
yeah, if you think about it, we're building sites a mile and 2 miles from where existing sites are, as opposed to 5 and 10 miles previously. So
Okay.
there's no design to move anything. It's to supplement what's already here, to improve coverage.
Okay. Can you build one down in our neighborhood?
Where it's tougher. It's tough in towns like Duxbury because the land is pretty developed and used residentially. So we're lucky to find places that we can actually build.
I'm good with this.
Does the
good.
board have any further
I don't.
questions or discussion? Boris, any comment or question? Boris, are you there?
Anybody in the audience want to say anything?
Ought to get something to, although we need them.
That's true.
He's still here, but he's not responding. So not hearing yet from Boris, do we have anyone else in the audience that would like to?
I'm here, Phil. I didn't hear that.
Nope, okay.
No, I'm here. I don't have any questions. I'm
No,
sorry.
no questions. Okay, do we have any questions from the audience? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Aye, Phil.
I am it.
I, Freeman.
Boris.
Unanimous. Any discussion, questions?
None. I would, motion to approve the,
Special permit.
special permit.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Phil.
I am it.
I, Freeman.
Point of clarification, we applied for a special permit and 2 dimensional variances, one for the height of the facility and one for the setback away from the abutting property line, which is Route 3. Those were already granted as well, so I think you need to also
Vote to approve the variances.
application as well.
But again, there's nothing different from the prior
No,
application.
You can use the exact same decision from the last time, but those variances were in there. I just don't want to be
He wants us
approve
to,
the special permit. The application was for special permit and variances.
he wants us, yes,
Okay.
Motion to approve the,
special permit and the
special
variances.
permit with the variances.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Phil.
I am it.
I, Freeman.
Hi, Boris.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We can
Thank
get some
you.
water before we start.
I'm going to sit the next one out.
Okay.
So at least 4, right?
Yep. All right, we're going to take a brief break while one of our members excuses themselves. You're sitting out 101 Gurnett Road?
Save up the weekend.
The issue is Freeman can't do that one. Boris has a hard stop. We can't go with 3 people. And my suggestion is that we just push this to the very next meeting.
April 23rd.
April 23rd work for you folks?
Is that a Thursday also?
Yeah, it's always a Thursday. All right, so let's just move that one to April 23rd.
That's fine, we've got babysitters at home, we gotta relieve anyway, so.
I'm sorry that I cost you so much with your babysitter already.
It's our in-laws, they're free.
They're free.
Those are the best babysitters.
That's right, thank you.
All right, so that we dealt with.
So,
All right, you're back.
what did I miss? Boris has to hit the road?
Boris hits at 10 o'clock, so we have to go forward.
15 minutes. 16, do we?
All right. The Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in the Mirror Room, which is here via Zoom and in person, to consider the application of Paul Reichman and Sandra Acevedo, care of Sean Dolan and Company, for a special permit under Articles 400 and 900, Sections 401.2, 401.2, number 4, 402, 410, 410.4, 903.1, 906.2, and 906.5 of the bylaw. The property is located at 101 Gurnett Road, parcel number 137-901-007 on the assessor's map, consisting of 0.172 acres in the residential compatibility and flood hazard overlay districts owned by the applicants. They propose to raise up the existing non-conforming dwelling by plus or minus 7.3 feet on wooden piers and construct a new deck in the same location. A special permit and a variance are required. The application can be viewed at the town's website. Folks who are differently abled, we will make accommodation for. What we have is an application. We've got a memo from the Board of Health that says the property is connected to Marshfield, and therefore they have no comments. We have a series of site plans and drawings. And did anybody else submit anything? All right, then the DRB yesterday said the applicants proposed to lift the existing house, remove the foundation, and reset the house on a new pile foundation 20 feet westward toward Gurnett Road than the existing location. The goal is to get the house out of the zone, out of the FEMA VE zone. A new open deck and stair are proposed at the east side facing the sea. A new open deck with pergola and parking below are proposed on the west side facing Gurnett Road. This is a large increase in the volume of the structure, and the height will exceed the allowable 30 feet. The DRB met to review the application. The height of the structure relative to the grade shown on the architectural drawings was noted at 30 feet, which meets the zoning requirement. However, Kevin Dolan explained that the grade was incorrect, drawn as the actual height was 33.2, requiring a variance. The DRB requested the drawings be corrected to show the actual conditions, as the increased height will affect the number of stairs required and will allow the proportions of the structure to change. Except for the resubmission of the accurate drawings, the DRB has no objections. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to hear from the applicant. The board's going to ask questions. Anybody else who is interested in this can pipe up, and we'll go from there. Oh, by the way, let me start with, we only have 4 board members. In order to get the relief you requested, everybody has to say yes. You have the ability to say, we'd like to do it with a full board, or you can go forward tonight. You can go forward tonight anyway, and we can continue it and ask one of the board members who is not conflicted to watch what had occurred, and we can do this at a subsequent meeting, but it's up to you whether you want to proceed.
Proceed.
Okay.
And he's got 13 minutes, right? Before that board member, that B becomes a blank.
I do believe that we are likely to continue at some point.
You updated plan,
Thank you.
Do we, do,
I got an updated plan
He's got
dated
it.
March
just
16th.
one page that I slipped in.
Just that elevation correction.
Yeah, it's,
we have it,
yes.
Okay.
March 16th. That's the correct one.
Yeah, I got the March 16th. Yeah, all right.
My name is Kevin Dolan, thank you. I'm here to represent Franklin's at 101 Garner Road. Our goal is to lift the house up, get it out of the flood zone, and be in compliance with FEMA and building regulations. We're looking to add a deck on the east side and the west side of the home. As of now, our setbacks will stay the same, and all, the non-conforming will stay non-conforming. We're going to improve the side setback by about 0.2 feet. Otherwise, by moving forward 20 feet towards, or moving west 20 feet doesn't change much with the setback. We're still conforming on the frontage of the street. We are increasing the volume because we're going up, and so that's part of the reasons why we need a special permit. And we need a variance because we're going to raise that 1.5-story building about 7.3 feet, which will put that mean roof height to 30.2, 3.2 feet above what we're allowed to do in the zoning bylaws. The project itself, once completed, would actually help water flow with any water splash over going over the seawall, because it'll allow everything to flow freely under the building without creating any hazards or displacing a home into the road. And then we're looking for the special permit, the variance, because we know the zoning bylaw at this point is creating a hardship for us not being able to meet the FEMA and the building regulations.
All right. Board have questions?
No.
well, the variance part, what did we used to say?
I don't know. It's difficult to get a variance in Massachusetts.
Right.
It's
Yeah, I'm just.
So you're going to have
Back
to
to that.
show some unique aspect of the soil conditions, the topography, or some aspect of this particular property that's different than everything else in the abutting and immediate area in order to actually get a variance, or get a variance that will be non-appealable going forward. Why do you need to go to 33 feet?
In order to have the lowest structural member to be 3 feet above the flood zone, which is 17. The lowest structural member will then be put at 20. Then we have a floor system, and then at that point,
What height walls can you redo?
We're picking up the existing home, relocating it, so we're not raising the house and tearing it down. We're just putting it inside, driving a new pile foundation, and then putting it back on.
But you're not making the existing house any taller than the old,
other than just by
the new
raising-
house any taller than the old house?
It's the exact same house.
So where's the extra volume coming?
We're going up. That's underneath the
Under.
house.
Okay.
Underneath the house only.
Right.
So in order to even build that house, today is a new 1.5 stories, you'd have to do it with like barely 7-foot walls, if that, and at that point, you're getting very close to the minimum, if not lower than what the building code states, ceiling heights within a home.
And so, I just want to fully understand this. So you're taking the existing house, you're making it higher to get out of the flood zone, and moving it a little bit, putting a couple of decks on, but not doing anything else?
But just on the inside of the house, the exterior stays the same, other than siding and some roofing, but
And 2 decks.
and 2 decks, but the physical home is not changing size, footprint, just the 2 decks that we're adding on.
And the 2 decks do not make it any more non-conforming.
Well, they moved away from it, so they have plenty of real estate towards the
Can't
water.
increase any structures within the velocity zone, as we just heard, so we
You pull
wanted to
back.
have the stairs to get from that deck elevation. We had to pull that building back that distance in order to get to grade.
Right. Yeah,
And
I'm just-
not also encroach on that velocity zone.
Yeah, I'm just confirming that we're not creating any new nonconformities or increasing an existing nonconformity.
We're slightly bettering one nonconformity,
To what point?
0.2 feet.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the,
Because the sunroom is pretty damn close to begin with, right?
to,
The lot line.
right now, the sunroom, the sunroom, yeah, so the sunroom right now is 0.5 as it sits today. We're gonna make it 0.7, so as we pick it up and put it back down, we're gonna just square it up a little bit with the property line, so it's parallel.
Jim, do the stairs count?
At the front left side of the lot there that I'm looking at? It count
So
in what?
move down towards the Gurnett Road side, next to the proposed open deck with pergola.
And when you say count, in what way? What are you referring to?
They're definitely in the setback.
They are in the setback, but they're, as long as they don't go any closer than that sunroom, they're okay.
Well,
They are part of the structure.
Right,
But they're new,
Got it at 0.7.
but they're new, aren't they, Jim?
Yeah,
Yes.
and you can increase that along
Okay.
that. I mean, the board has the authority to do that,
Yeah,
provided it's not
right, but
detrimental. But it's not
my
closer.
question is whether we can even consider the fact that there is an extension of the nonconformity by the stairs.
Well, zoning bylaw does say there's an exception for projections of stairs. I have to clarify something.
Okay.
Stairs are not considered, they're not limited to 30 square feet. It was a misinterpretation because it's separated by a comma, but it says, it's always been the board's purview to kind of look at stairs and say, well, you're limited to 30 square feet. But what it says is steps or steps and stoops, or it says stoops, which is different than steps. I've looked this all up. I've gone through it every way to Sunday. The short answer is they're exempt from, stairs are exempt from encroaching into the setback, which is kind of what our bylaw says. If I got it in front of you.
We've done the opposite
You have it?
with stairs.
I mean, we've got 12 stairs here.
Yeah.
I think that-
We've not allowed stairs before.
Well, I
We're
know that.
complete
It's,
Within all of our realm, yours, mine, and everybody's.
I had someone, a very pesky person, come into my office, and a very smart man, and schooled me on the use of the Oxford comma in that zoning bylaw, and stairs are not limited to 30 square feet on other sides of the house except for the front of the house, which is a stoop, which is considered to be 2 to 3 feet according to Merriam-Webster's definition.
But the proposed open deck
But-
also extends into the new proposed open deck, actually both of them extend into the setback, don't they?
Into which one? The side
Sides.
setback?
Yeah.
No further than the existing
No, but I'm not
nonconformity.
asking whether it's further, it's whether it's an extension of the existing nonconformity. And the proposed open deck with pergola, parking below, the one towards the Gurnett side set, actually does extend further into the setback.
I don't see where it's extending further into the setback.
Because,
The deck's not there, it doesn't meet the side setback, now there's a new deck, so it's inside the setback.
Okay,
No?
for clarification, I've just witnessed the board on this many times, is that if you have any structure that's, we're gonna use 0.7, the board can determine an expansion along that same line.
right, but nobody questions
Right?
nobody questions whether we have the ability to do this. The question is whether there's an expansion of the nonconformity, and then we have to make some decisions as to...
It is an expansion of the
Yes.
nonconformity.
Yeah.
It doesn't increase it.
Boris, do you have any questions in the last 3 minutes?
I have one just comment I just want to make and ask the applicant,
Yeah.
just for clarification. in order to lift this house out and comply with the flood zone, you're not exceeding the minimum requirements of the flood zone requirements, right? Is with respect to the height.
Yeah, right now we're
You're
at
meeting
20
the minimum.
Yeah, right now,
And-
yeah, we have at the minimum 20 feet.
And the building code, the new addition, increased that height by a foot, just so,
So it's 21 feet.
It's 20, it's 3 feet right now.
right. It used to
And
be
that's what-
plus
It
2,
used to be +2,
so that's another condition
we're at +3 on
of the
the
zone,
plan,
of
'cause that's
the
in our code.
building code that increased.
I'm candidly, Jim, you confused the hell out of me.
Yeah,
So
you're
tell me
welcome.
what we're doing.
That's what I do.
Explain to me what you just said, please.
Well, the reason I wanted to bring that up was because he's asking for a variance on height.
Yeah.
And the condition, the flood zone requirements in the building code increased by a foot. So now the house has to go up a foot higher than usual, right, than normally would, which means it would have only
And 6
been
months ago.
exceeded by a foot.
Or
Now
whatever
it's
it was.
exceeding by 2 as a result of the new FEMA requirements for that, for the building code requirements, and they're not changing the existing structure. They couldn't-
So the
With
variance
regard to the
issue
height.
seems reasonably straightforward.
It does.
Yeah. The question is whether it's an expansion of an existing nonconformity.
Well, it is an expansion of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't create a new one, though.
No, which would require a different variance.
Right.
Right.
But we are adding more decks and everything in the non-conforming area.
Yes.
Which we can't allow, but I just want, that's by our permission, that's it, there's no rights.
No, there's
Just-
no.
I want to get that out there, everybody just assumes you can do it.
But, so, as I look at this plan, there's, what you're moving the house back.
Quite a bit.
20 feet.
Right. Well, is that 20 feet, really?
Yep, it's just deceiving because the proposed open deck on the west side.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's deceiving because of
Overlaying
the,
on the old structure, so it's
Right.
just
Yeah.
a visual picture.
and you have enough, plenty enough off of Gurnett Road. There,
It's just it's a side, it's just a narrow lot.
it's a very narrow lot, but these are the lots that are
How wide is it?
up by the
The lot
beach.
itself is 50.19 feet.
Yeah, it's a narrow lot.
Big as my garage.
Emmett has a nice garage. All right, we're gonna have to continue this in order to make a decision on this because we're at the 10 o'clock hour.
Yeah, I think the bee's there, but I don't think he's there.
I don't think he's there either. So let's continue to the next hearing date.
April 23rd?
April 23rd work for you?
I will not be here April 23rd.
All right. And you won't be here, but we'll have Tanya or Judy.
I'll send it to both of them.
All right, good. Candidly, I think there needs to be a little discussion about whether this extension of the nonconformity derogates from the neighborhood and from the zoning bylaw.
23rd of Florida.
Oh, that's vacation week, right? Which is soon, yeah.
Week after next.
2 weeks.
You have a lot on May 14th, that's the,
I'm not gonna be anywhere.
others.
Well, but let's do May 14th because this is a yes or no on the decks, quite frankly. Right. One of the decks I don't see any issue with, but, right. So let's do May 14th. All right? All right, I'm going to move to continue to May 14th.
Can we ask you, I'm sorry, can I ask you what you would be in favor of then? In other words, you just said that I don't have a problem with one of the decks, the east side or the west side?
That's what he's saying. I haven't said anything either.
No, I know, but.
Right, so you can maybe redraw it or something? Is that what you're suggesting?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah.
What will it take to, you know?
I don't have an answer right this second, to be honest with you.
Yeah, candidly, I look at this and I'm thinking, yeah, it's reasonably close. I don't, there's no reason I wouldn't ultimately support it. And you know, I don't know, where's the east side over the west side, so I can do it.
East side's on the seawall side.
All right.
The west side's on the
It's the
ground.
west side deck that bothers me, candidly.
Is it because it's going beyond the house?
Yeah. But I'm not telling you, I would vote no on this.
The stairs are on the side of the house there, so there's stairs there, it's not additional deck per se.
Deck right now.
We only have 3 of us here, right? I mean, we shouldn't even be,
I get it.
all right?
Right.
I'm just trying to
I know.
avoid an issue next time.
And it does,
Oh, he's
Still here?
all right, it does extend beyond the width of the house. It doesn't extend beyond the width of the sunroom, but of the existing dwelling, it extends beyond the width.
So it would be okay as drawn?
I'm not going to predetermine this,
Know what I mean?
but
Hey, just for the record, you got to just vote to
He has to work.
continue.
yes, I would like to move to continue to May 14th.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Wayne.
Aye, Phil.
Emmett.
Thank you.
There's a lot of paper.
What date are we continuing this to? May 14th, right? Okay. I can be here for that.
Is there anything else we need to do tonight?
There was 83 Gurnett.
All right. Do we have,
But
We don't-
Freeman wasn't doing that one.
so Freeman can do 83 Gurmit?
No, I thought that was the one he couldn't do. Did he say no?
Freeman, can you do 83 Gurnet?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you can.
I'm here.
He was sitting out on this one right here.
Oh, that was the only one, okay. Oh, and Murphy.
Yep,
Okay.
that's why we sent them home.
Okay.
All right. So,
What do we got now?
83.
So where are those other people left? What were they for?
They were the last one, which I drew their plan also.
all right, so let's do this.
Okay.
For the last hearing of the evening,
All right.
the Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing
Don't believe it.
tonight to consider the application of Nathan and Julianne Tilden, care of HC Design for a special permit under Articles 400, 500, and 900,
No.
Sections 401.2, 401.2, number 4, 402, 410, 410.4, 504.5, and 906.2 of the bylaw. The property is located at Gurnet, 83 Gurnet. It's 137-901-002 on the assessor's map, consisting of .17 acres in the RC district and the flood hazard overlay district owned by the applicants. They propose to raise and rebuild the existing non-conforming dwelling on wood pilings. The application can be viewed at the town's website. We will make accommodation for those who need it. Among the things that have been submitted to us, we have an application. The DRB discussed it. They had no objections to the aesthetic of the dwelling, and it's compatible with the neighborhood. It was noted that the clerestory, which provides headroom and outside illumination at the attic level, does add elevation to the structure above the average roof height. The average roof height is noted at 30 feet on the architectural plans. The certified site plan was not signed by the surveyor. The DRB recommended the applicant provide a stamped and signed plan. It's connected to Marshfield, so candidly, the Board of Health doesn't care. The Concom says, oh no, there's a letter to the Concom from Cindy Dunderdale at 97 Gurnet Road in support. Well, it's a letter to the Concom, but I think they were directing it to us. I'm writing as an abutting property to 97 Gurnet Road, express my full and enthusiastic support for the proposed project to construct construct a new family home on the adjacent property. I've reviewed the shared plans for the proposed residence. The overall project design remains traditional and classic in appearance. From my perspective as a butter, I have no concerns.
Ken?
And
One of the kids.
she asks that the
I have one of the
Concom
nephews.
approve. Mr. Weintraub of 83 Gurnett Road says he fully supports the design. Mr. Najarian of 61 Gurnett Road expresses support for the design. Anything else? I think that's it. So the way we do this, we hear from the applicant, and then the board's going to ask questions, and then anybody else who's interested and wants to weigh in. Just to be clear, in order to grant a special permit, you would need all 4 people sitting here to say yes. And that means that you have the opportunity to say, I would like to defer until I get a full board of 5 people, or you can proceed tonight. Even if you proceeded tonight, we would likely continue, so you could get a full board of 5 people if you wanted a full board. All right, let's hear from the applicant.
Do we need anything on the screen for the applicant? What's your involvement?
I'm the architect.
Can we put the architecturals up, maybe? Patty, please?
These are just pictures.
I can't read any of this plan.
Leave this shit. We have to start requiring big print.
Mm-hmm.
This-
Freeman, which ones do you want for the plans?
Architecturals?
What, these?
Elevations?
I think elevations.
Pretty big.
So Jim, before we hear from the applicant, the design review board mentioned that there was an issue with some portion of this that they at least
It is
suggested.
stamped but unsigned.
Oh, I got a signed plan.
Yeah, the
Okay.
certified plot plan, there is a signature, it's just not over the stamp. It's,
Oh, I've
Yeah,
got
I don't know why they.
I've got a signed one.
I see it.
That was the design review board said that, right?
Yeah.
But the design review board also raised the issue of there was a portion of this that they thought might bring it over 30 feet.
Yeah, I can speak to that, and I'm sure the applicant will too. The zoning bylaw does not include clear story, and this is one of the first houses I've seen with a clear story. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yeah, first applications I've seen, and I saw this and I said, oh, it's gonna be interesting. But clear stories are specifically in the zoning bylaw. Is exempt from height, provided they don't exceed 65 feet maximum height. And a clear story, in case, you know, I'll let the architect speak. to it.
Well, what is a clear story? Let's define that definition.
Clear story is essentially, picture a church, and you get the big roof. And a clear story is another structure that sits above it with no floor in it. It's a clear story. It's got windows in it typically.
And how, is it limited in size, or could it be the footprint of the house?
But you can't go up and you can't climb up and you can't do
It
anything.
can't be any taller than 65 feet.
65
So what's it
feet
for?
is
Just
tall.
looks?
It's really tall.
what's that?
What's it for then? Looks?
It's mainly to get as much light
Light?
into that, yeah, that third floor.
So it's
Yeah.
all open down to the second story, to the floor?
No, so there's a first floor, second floor, and then there's floor space within the roof.
Okay.
And that clear story is just for the space that's within the roof.
Floor space within the roof, that was very well put. I didn't want to hear you say third story.
Right. We definitely need some zoning. These houses-
Yep.
These houses are getting ginormous.
What's that?
These houses are getting very large and we're getting, I don't know.
Yeah, compared to the last one, if I could mention it, the other one was a 1.5-story house.
Right. This is 3.
2.5.
2.5, 3.
2.5.
Well, when you compare it to the house that's just to the right of it, in those photos.
Right.
That was provided as well.
All right, so you're the applicant, let's hear from you.
Okay. So this is at 83 Granite, and the existing footprint for the house that's already there is 1,127 square feet, of which is full foundation with a drive-in or garage. So what we're proposing is to raise the house, put the new house up on wood pilings. The house is in a AO flood zone. So we are, the bottom of our girder beam, or the lowest structural number, needs to be, I think, 16.5 feet in elevation. We're going 16.73, so we're 3 inches higher than where we need to be. And then based on where the average grade is, which is 10.52, 30 feet up from that is where the midpoint of our roof needs to be. And we are at, I believe, 29.8 feet. So we're a couple inches below where we need to be, and that's the midpoint of the main gable.
Could you point to that, please?
So this, I know it's hard to see here, but this red line right here is 30 feet from the average grade, which is this dark
Average grade measured from where?
measured from average grade, which is right here.
No, but where did you measure the average grade from?
That was determined by, so this is Austin from Mackenzie Engineering.
You're supposed to measure it 20 feet in front of the house.
Right.
Yeah, it's 20 feet on the road side of the house.
Okay.
Of the existing house.
Is 10.5.
Yep. Yes.
10.52.
Okay.
And so the,
That goes above it.
so the existing house is, the footprint is pretty much exactly 15% of the size of the lot, which is 7,500 square feet. It's a very narrow lot, very small. And in the bylaws.
So the footprint it has a footprint bigger?
It's bigger, but we're using, so in the zoning bylaws, if your lot is under 20,000
Oh,
square feet.
you're using the so-called 3%.
Yes.
You get to ask for it, you don't get it, just so you know.
No, this is why we're.
Right,
here.
right. That's, I'm trying to point those things out.
No, exactly.
I think one of these days, I'm just saying, I don't really care, you're not getting the
And
3.
did Jim check the math on that
Which part?
3% rule?
I have looked at it.
Okay.
And it's correct on the site plan.
Great.
I like it when it's correct on the site plan,
I
because
did-
it's not always
I
right.
believe you
Right.
try to get that good. I did find a definition for height in the bylaw, and I would like to read it and see if the interpretation is correct when we review this.
Okay. Let's listen to the applicant, then we'll listen to you.
So that would bring our maximum footprint on the site to 1,500 square feet. We're at 1,499.
So you're like 2 inches short of the biggest thing you could build.
But even still, the house is only 26 feet wide. So it's not huge by any stretch.
There's 2 proposed elevations in the driveway. One's 8.4 and the other one's 8.9, not 10.5.
That's the grade of the driveway, not the average grade. The average grade is 10.5.
The average grade of the road?
Well, it looks,
There are retaining walls, right, on either side of the driveway, so the natural grade.
I can't read the contours on this little plan
Do you see
here.
the elevation is 10 feet there on either side of the...
Actually,
No,
you can't
the
read it.
plan's too small.
Oh.
I got a big set of plans.
Oh, cool. And you're keeping the retaining walls?
Yes,
Has this gone through conservation?
it has,
And they approved it?
yes.
Any unusual conditions or anything?
So there's a 10 on either side of the driveway and an 8.4 in the middle. So how do we come up with an average grade of,
Look up closer to the left side of the front of the house, there's an 11.
Yeah, I know, but we're supposed to come 20 feet off the house. That's out closer to the 10.
11 to 10, that's 10.5. We gotta do that math.
I know, but there's a proposed 8.4 and an 8.9.
That's because they've got one of those recessed driveways.
I know.
But that's the grade,
That's the grade.
right?
Which one do you use? That's a good question.
So if we come 20 feet off the front, that's going to be the middle of the driveway. That's like halfway between the 8.9 and the 8.4, which gets us, what, 875 or something? And then you average that in with a 10, you're going to be under 10, aren't you? Or
Yeah, I can speak to that quickly. Austin Chartier with McKenzie Engineering Group. We had discussions with the building inspector on what the average grade elevation we should use. And essentially the way we interpreted that is that the retaining walls that are cut into the site basically disturb natural grade. So we assumed essentially the raised site around the building was
Whoa,
the existing
whoa.
natural grade.
I think,
That's how we came.
That's,
I'm thinking
Conversation just with Rick.
if you come 20 feet off the front of the house, aren't you coming out to where it's 10 on either side of the driveway?
Well, so it's the average, yes. So the point at the building inspector was saying, if you come out from the existing building towards the road, you're on the retaining wall, essentially. So we
Yeah.
used the existing higher grade,
Which is,
10.52.
no, what is it 20 feet from the house?
It depends where you take it from.
I got 10 on either side of the driveway.
So from the existing structure, if you come out 20 feet, it's a
Yep.
little bit further back. So it's 10.52 was the average grade we came to. I can provide that sketch plan. I know we prepared it in a sketch plan for that elevation, just because we knew it would come out.
I don't have a scale ruler, but I would think if we came 20 feet off the house, we're gonna be out where it says Zone AE, elevation 10.
So it's taken from the existing house, and that house that you're looking at is about,
From the existing, thought we were talking about building a new house here.
correct, but to interpret building height, it says to take from the existing site.
Well, that can't be right. You gotta build, if you're building a new house, you gotta measure the new house.
Yeah.
In the AO zone, you can't cut
off. They're there, we can't be, that was sleight of hand right there.
So I guess,
in a flood zone, you can't cut or fill in a flood zone, so the existing grades that are there are all staying,
Right.
just
Yep.
to be clear.
it
We're
says,
not filling.
it says 10 on either side.
So you're looking at the proposed site plan. I'm not sure if an existing condition was submitted, but I could show you if you have an existing condition plan.
But you're not changing the grade, so why would that be any different?
Because the house footprint is changing on the proposed to the existing.
Lots.
But I think the board's trying to say is that they're gonna use the average grade on what you're proposing for the house build. Not the existing, we don't care about that. You're proposing a
Correct.
new building, and we have to determine height of that new building based on where this thing's gonna sit and what the average grade is. Is that the 10.5?
So no, the
Would-
10.5 is the existing grade on the existing structure.
Right, which,
I think if we could, you said you were gonna read that definition of building height?
yeah, but to get back to
We've read
what
it.
we're looking for the baseline, you're proposing a new structure. Your average grade is based off that you're going to propose. We need to determine height, so it's where that building sits and what that average grade is
20 feet.
off the new building. We
Understood.
don't care about the old one,
Okay, understood. We can take that into consideration.
all right? It might only change a few inches, but
Yeah.
it's not that,
But on this, a few inches.
it's a lot.
Well, can
Right.
the house be lowered, or is it at the elevation it needs to be at to meet the flood zone?
He said it's 3 inches higher.
We're 3 inches over where it
What?
needs to be.
Why is that? Just because of dimensional lumber or something, or
Well,
something?
we still hope to be able to get a car underneath, because of where the existing driveway level
Ramps.
is now, we're gonna keep that.
Yep.
And if I go any lower, then it really starts to kind of pinch.
What is that height?
It's only about 8 feet underneath that front deck there, where that big X is. That's essentially the opening.
Right,
You
but
would pull a car on that.
any car will go in because your average garage door is 8 foot high.
Yeah.
9 by 7s, yeah.
So you do have a little real estate to come down.
Yeah.
But then they won't be able to see over the
Able to
wall.
open the garage door and have room for an opener.
The garage can't see over the wall.
No, the first floor is 17 and the wall's at 18 and a half.
Yep.
But fortunately, they're not in the velocity zone, or they'd be up a whole bunch higher. They'd be at 20
right.
instead of 60, yeah.
Currently, there is a concrete patio and concrete stairs off the back of the house that is in the velocity zone, which we're removing, and we're pulling all of that out.
For conservation, or just, you're just doing it?
For conservation, so we can get any part of the house out of the VE.
Yep.
And you're pulling the house back too, right?
We're holding where the back of the existing house is now, but we're going towards the street.
So the back is water side?
The back of the house is water side.
Okay.
I know
It
some
looks
people
like
say
the house,
it's in front of the
Yeah.
house, or that's
Different
the-
people say, right.
it looks like the house is moving back. The house is like 5 feet off the velocity zone on the existing conditions. The 2-story wood frame dwelling is 5 feet off the velocity zone, and then you go to this page and the house is like 20 feet off.
Well, we have, so on this.
There are
plan,
porches and decks and stuff, but
If I can.
certainly. Or do you want Patty to? put
Yeah,
that?
no,
This is the back of the house, and that's how far it is off the velocity zone.
This is a screen porch.
Yep.
And then part of this is covered. So,
Okay.
so
So
the
you're
back of
calling
the
this part of
existing
the
house
house.
is right there.
So you're calling this
Yeah.
part of the house?
Yes.
We're currently 11 and a half,
And then that
11.3
weird shape thing there is,
coming out.
that's that concrete patio.
11.6, 11.3, 11.8. So the only issue I see is the height of the building.
Right. Looks like a nice house.
It does, we're gonna have to keep that in mind, we can put that thing up on the roof.
What are we gonna do?
We gotta keep in mind that we could put this big,
Clear structure.
clear, whatever, what was it
Clear
again,
story.
Jim?
Clear structure,
Clear
right?
Hey, clear story in here,
Clear
but
story.
I'm happy to read
65
it.
feet, that's a big thing. We could put cell
can read it
towers
to
on
you.
it. Put cell
Whenever you're
towers
ready.
on it.
Read it.
antennas.
Please.
So this is what it says in building height. I'm just going to read the part about the limitations. The limitations of height in feet shall not apply to chimneys, elevators, poles, ventilators, skylights, tanks, bulkheads, and other accessory structural features usually carried above roofs, nor to domes, towers, or spires of churches or other buildings, provided such features are in no way used for living purposes, and further provided that no such structural feature of any building shall exceed a height of 65 feet from the ground.
So theoretically, that thing could go up another,
Another 20
Theoretically,
feet.
if it had no floor in it and didn't contribute to any living space.
No, nope, that's not gonna happen.
I know. Well,
You
again,
need a special permit.
you still need a special permit because of where it's located. If that was a house on a lot fully conforming and someone wanted to do that,
You'd give them a building
I'd give
permit.
them a building permit.
Yeah.
We had that similar situation with the fellow that built the elevator with the doghouse on it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember
I had a handicap
Same thing.
sign.
candidly, this isn't an elevator with a,
But here's the thing, and you know this, you guys have to determine detriment, right?
right, all right, so. Board have questions?
What are we gonna do about the height?
Anybody else want to weigh in here? Yeah,
Yeah,
of course
sure.
you can.
I stuck around for this because I was wondering how they would do it.
I'm assuming you have a photo of where that is on the stretch of Gurnett Road. And it is tucked in the corner there, and the elevation to the left side of the house, if you're facing from Gurnett Road, is really significantly higher. So it's always been sort of like, I don't know, like it almost feels like it sits too low in there. So I think this is really clever and creative, and I think it's going to look really great and balance off the slope, because there's a pretty dramatic slope to the side. And then the only other thing, I have two other things to say, and that's, I believe, I need to just verify this with Jim, but I believe Phase 1 on Ocean Road North, I believe the VE zone has changed there now because of the wall. I don't know that that's not categorized the same way anymore.
It
There
hasn't,
was a letter of map provision in
There
a
was a
section
map
of
provision.
the first
Yeah.
phase of the zone.
Right, so I anticipate that to happen now that the rest of the wall just got completed. There's a little lapse in time, I think it's like a year or two before it actually hits the
I don't know
map.
who files that. That's a question I don't know.
Yeah, but the VE zone, I anticipate that to probably change for the rest of it in kind.
If it's consistent with the other part.
Yeah, I mean, I
Possible.
don't know why it wouldn't. And then when FEMA keeps raising the flood height, the town is not changing the height bylaw to coincide with it. So what's happening down there is, I'm sure you know, they're all getting kind of like these roof lines are getting really squatty and ugly. And I think that looks fabulous, actually. So kudos to you. So I'm in support.
So you like it?
I love it.
Is that what you're saying?
he's not in the velocity zone here. It's an AO 3-foot depth, and there's an existing grade of 12 in the worst place, so he's required to make the first floor at 15, and he's putting the first floor at 18.8, so he could go drop it 3 feet. But he's keeping it up at that height in order to get cars underneath it.
Yeah,
So,
but in pitch, it's a little low there anyway, so I think with the way you've kind of done it, probably,
but it's still 6 feet above grade.
yeah. Well, I guess that's your.
Yeah, so just to clarify, yeah, the AO is the 3 feet above basically the highest grade adjacent to the house.
Yep.
And so the base flood elevation is 3 feet above that, which I think we had at 12.5. But the actual design flood elevation, similar to the velocity zone, how you go up 3 feet above what that elevation is. For the AO, the base flood elevation is, the design flood elevation is 1 foot above that. So that's 16.5 feet to your lowest structural member. So that's why we're putting our lowest structural member at 16.7. And then your first floor is, whatever, 13, 14.
But you're not in the velocity zone.
That only applies,
The
AOs to the finished floor. When you're in an AO, you have to be, the finished
2
floor's
feet.
gotta be, oh,
The
2 feet?
Lowest finished floor in an
Okay.
AO zone. In any A zone.
Well, so it's an AO3, and then we add a foot to that to get your design flood elevation per Mass Building Code.
I think it's 2 feet. It changed.
Well, so that would put it up, to 17.5, but the latest document that we referenced was a foot, so maybe that is new.
They changed that. You just double check that.
So it's AO3 plus 2?
It says design flood elevation is +2 for A zones and +3 for
Okay.
velocity. But it's to the lowest finished floor in an A zone.
Okay.
Yeah, finished
So
floor.
it's similar to the 1 foot to lowest structural.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of flexibility there then, sounds like.
Can you lower it 6 inches? So we meet the height requirement?
If that design elevation is to the finished floor, not to the bottom of the lowest structural member, then, I think we've got.
Can you still squeeze a car in there?
I'd have to, I don't know if I have a dimension on here for what that,
He was at 8 before, so.
I'm
7.9.
I'm just not seeing the average finished grade 20 feet in the front of the house at 10.5.
So, yeah, anything, my Tahoe, get in there, get into the lift.
it might be 7.6, because at some point we did lower the first floor a little bit. But I'll double check the height of that door. Now that I'm thinking of it, it might be 7.6.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
3 inches isn't gonna kill any.
I'm looking for 6.
Plus, oh, you're looking for 6.
And I could call it average grade somewhere between 8.75 and 10, and not, I mean, 10, yeah. You look at the plan, it's 10 here,
Oh,
but it's 8.75 there, and the average between 10 and 8.75 is gonna be 9 something,
Right.
which makes the house even more too tall. It's a 32, and
So we
they-
can,
Just to clarify, we were taking the grade at the retaining wall, not the cut-in driveway.
Okay.
So it was, we're taking the higher grade there.
and that's not the
To
average.
establish that.
That's not the average.
so my issue with this, and I fully understand that people really want, if they're gonna do this level of work, wanna build wall to wall. This is the biggest possible thing they could build. It's the biggest possible thing they could build, both in terms of site coverage. It's the biggest possible thing they could build in terms of height. And whether we're gonna just rubber stamp everything that basically complies, if you go to the max, at some point, enough is enough for me.
So I give a little story. Somebody was went through all my stuff. Somebody pretty sharp. He wrote little notes. This house is ginormous. And the question mark, does it fit in?
Right, but
And
But we're seeing this over and over and over again.
every time.
Right, and yes, people are going to spend a tremendous amount of money to build this out.
Right.
Right, but, and they'd like as big a structure as they possibly get, but you couldn't put a bigger structure on this property and even purport to comply with the bylaw.
Yep.
And the 3% as well.
Right, they asked for the 3%.
I still don't understand which way you're going. I mean, you like it, or you?
It's only 26 feet, it's still only 26 feet wide.
No, but that's the function of the piece of property that you started with.
I mean, you're saying we're building as big as we possibly
Well,
can.
if you want to disagree with me about
Yeah,
whether
just-
you,
just
whether
agreed,
you are building as big as you possibly can, go right ahead. You can go right ahead and disagree with me and explain to me how you could put 1 micron bigger house than the one you than the one you proposed.
You know, I agree, we are maxing it out.
I'm going to vote no,
Unless they,
unless they lower the house.
okay,
Chop that top.
Yep.
well, they'd have to lower the roof. And 'cause
Well,
we
they can't.
can't look at the top thing.
Yeah, there's a little drawing to go on.
Oh, she's gonna get up on the screen.
Yeah, the elevation, this one. Where did these come from? These are nice. Let's read them.
We got those.
We need to start requiring everybody to give us full-size sheets of the site
Well, you
plan.
know what, sometimes we send them in to them, and then they go, we don't want them, we want them digital.
Bring it to
Yep.
center it up.
And then other times,
Just the building.
they want this.
I mean, maybe if you get a full board here, they relook at this plan, they come back and talk about this.
Make it 10
Well,
hours.
I know if somebody else was here, I know exactly what that somebody else would be saying right this minute.
Judy, what would you say?
Oh, you read my mind. She'd say, yeah, she'd agree.
It's not a PDF
I
file.
usually go with Wayne, too.
Right. I get scared when I don't agree with
Well, should we calculate, so we can send them off, tell them what to do?
No.
Have we had any chime in from the neighbors?
Are you using Chrome?
Well, we have a couple of letters that.
They got
Yeah.
letters in support
On both sides.
on both sides.
I thought so, I was just reaffirming that.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, the one to the right is much bigger.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Is this your place?
Well,
It's not looking bad either.
I'm looking for 6 inches.
Okay, we're not going there.
Wayne wants to bring that thing down.
And the issue for me is,
I get it.
are we just gonna continue to let everybody build wall to wall? And maybe the answer to that is yes.
And if so, why are we even here? Why not just let Jim
We won't let Jim do it.
do it?
Luckily, the
right?
bylaw doesn't give me that.
At least it's 2.5 stories. I mean, we've approved some with it, had the
hip
third
roof.
story dormer on the whole, shed dormer on the whole roof.
Yeah, that's true. But they didn't have whatever that clear story
Yeah.
was called.
But the clear story is
It sorta
still
is.
only half of the
Right.
house.
I mean, if you guys want to approve this, I'll go with it. It really doesn't set right with me. We're gonna give them the benefit of the 3% rule. We're gonna go as high as you possibly can, and maybe we've measured it right from the road.
So,
And they are adding decks and porches
Right.
that are outside the footprint.
I'd be inclined to approve it for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Number one, yeah, they are maxing it out, but the biggest issue with me is always, what do the neighbors think?
Yeah, I hear you.
And if the neighbors either didn't respond, which is basically giving, as we've discussed, that's giving their approval. They have no issue with it.
I'm not going to go silence as approval, but I understand your point.
They don't disapprove of it. They may not totally approve, but they're not gonna make a big stink. They're not gonna
they
make
may
a
not
federal
know it's
case out
even
of it.
happening either, Phil, just so you know,
They received the notice.
I personally wrote that paper on, it's gotta be 10.
oh, yeah.
Wrote letters, sent them the plans, this month.
And I also
And
think
it's happened 5 times in the last year here.
That's true.
And I also think
Right?
it's kinda cool. It's a little bit different
Look at
than the surrounding houses. It's not a cookie cutter plan.
No, it's not a cookie.
I tell you,
I'd be inclined
if
to
this was,
approve it on that
if this was
basis.
tucked down into one of those neighborhoods, like where the other thing was, I'd say absolutely not. These are one-offers. Remember the
What's
current
interesting
inn
is
that was
the
turned
choice
over?
That extra architectural detail.
But that's an architectural detail you tell us doesn't count.
Doesn't.
I did just want to add one thing about the order of conditions that the Conservation Commission issued. We are reducing the impervious footprint within the 100-foot buffer to the coastal barrier beach. And there's a full foundation in this existing house that, obviously floods up to 3 feet of water. So the Conservation Commission really liked that. We were getting rid of that full foundation, bringing it up to be FEMA compliant and also compliant with building code.
It's more
so-
environmentally friendly.
Yeah, and
So
we're
that
removing impervious coverage within the velocity zone. So it's, it absorbs the energy of the ocean a little bit better.
How are the immediately abutting houses equally tall?
He said the one next door.
Is one with the elevator. which
Yeah,
right-
remember that one?
The one with the elevator.
That's one, that's beside,
Right next to me, that, and he wrote a letter in support, that's Rob Weintraub.
Yeah.
Yeah, the existing grade of that abutting property is a little bit higher as well, so it is gonna be, I think.
Yeah.
so the elevator's with the truck, right?
Yes.
Trucks. That house is giant.
No, it's the one to the right of the outhouse, isn't it?
Yes,
That's the elevator.
this is our house right here, this is the
Oh.
one just to the right.
And the other picture to your left?
The other one.
They're the same picture, right?
Yeah.
Picture to the,
Back to the first one.
that one.
That one.
That's the one with the elevator.
Right. Okay.
Which is your house? I'm sorry.
So he's the one with the bounce house.
Yeah, all right.
You can see the seawall construction in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they probably called the midline of the roof that little gable section going up the side.
Alrighty, it's 20 of 11.
Oh
All
my
right, what would you like
goodness.
to do with this, gentlemen?
I was doing the math on the lowest The
We're
grade
taking a
20
straw
feet in
poll, I'd
front
be
of the
inclined
house.
to approve.
That part I fairly understood. So here's what we do, because we don't want to ever put people in a position where we say no and you get a 2-year bar in terms of that. So what we do is we take a straw poll to give people an idea of where the board is thinking. And in the event that the board is disinclined to give the special permit, then you can make judgments as to how you'd like to address it going forward. So why don't we do this?
Yeah, I was just gonna, I'm just looking down the road, and it's gonna happen again. So this guy probably has a foundation, so that, she's gonna be next to go, maybe someday. And I think it's in reality keeping with the neighborhood. I mean, look at that thing.
All those houses eventually.
They all will.
But we have to give them a variance, and they, like the last one, they don't have to come up this high because they're not in the velocity.
But we're not giving them a variance.
We are, if you do the math, 8.9 plus 8.40 plus 10, what is the real average elevation in front of the house, 20 feet in front of it?
Well, I'm perfectly willing to continue this to get that number.
Which is your
Because,
department, right?
because I have no desire to give anybody a variance on this.
Because they don't have to be this high, like the last one
Right.
had to be that high.
Right.
But we didn't even vote on it.
Well, then we don't need to vote. Well, then just continue it until they come back with the right number.
That's what I would suggest.
Okay,
All right, so what are we going to direct them to give us?
to review the bylaw in relation to height and where it is and just calculate what the average grade is in front of the house. Is it directly in front of it, or is it all the way across the lot in front of it, or?
Says in front of the house.
Okay, so then we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say all the way across the front. So they got to average the 10 contours and halfway between the 8.9 and the 8.4 and come up with a number
Makes sense.
and make it less than 30.
Right. Okay. So I would move to continue.
Okay. Second?
All-
I second, yep.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I, Freeman.
I
All right.
am.
Wayne's gone.
All right, let's see if we can get those numbers and then we'll go.
We're
April 23rd.
we're close.
Appreciate the help, gentlemen.
Yeah, it should be easy.
Yep.
Be a short one next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It'll be quick.
Did you get the date, April 23rd?
Yeah.
All right, could I move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.